the weakest talent. Have you heard of Senju? This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. Deng Shizhang, who was vomiting blood. Deng Shizhang smiled and separated a ball of water from the waves and turned it into a long rope. Bind Ye Chen and take it behind him. Then, with a wave of his little hand, the waves receded. There will be a period later. Old friends. Deng Shizhang left with Ye Chen. And watching the waves recede, countless people in the city were stunned. It's that Ye Chen, using yourself for the safety of the entire city. The whole city was plunged into a strange atmosphere. Are you alone? Did he trade himself for the safety of the city? Watching the waves in the sky gradually recede, people's hearts were relieved a lot. But I can't forget that voice. I'll go with you and let Zhanghe City go. That childish voice was unforgettable in his mind. Deng Shizhang looked at the three of Basin and sneered. Don't think about shooting at me. If you can't kill me with one blow, I will flood Zhanghe City. That Zhang Daosheng's arm drooped weakly, and it took a lot of time for his strongest move to freeze the opponent's Jia's Hang Shujing. To freeze these hundreds of meters of waves. Easier said than done. After all, he is too weak. Boy, Yi. The old man is useless. I can't keep you. Zhang Daosheng looked at Ye Chen, who was bound by the water rope, and slowly flew towards Deng Shizhang. And he could only wipe away the tears silently, unable to bear to look again. The figure was a little lonely. Basin looked at Zhang Daosheng's lonely figure, and his heart trembled fiercely. Ye Chen. Basin murmured. Ye Chen's aptitude. He saw in his eyes an excellent junior, and works hard to make progress. Even Lan Batian looked at Ye Chen with admiration. Those who sacrifice their lives for righteousness may be irresponsible to their family members, which is a very stupid behavior. But he deserves admiration. Brother Yi, if you can come back alive, I can consider making you my son-in-law. Ye Chen in the air smiled. Kate, farewell, your daughter is too cold. Lan Batian smiled helplessly. This kid. Deng Shizhang watched everyone stop doing it, and then he was about to leave with Ye Chen. By the way, my name is Deng Shizhang. Seek revenge at any time. In the starry realm, he is indeed qualified to be arrogant. With Deng Shizhang's departure, Zhanghe No. 1 Middle School also returned to calm. It's just that Zhanghe No. 1 Middle School, which has become a battlefield, is a little messy. As Zhang Daosheng waved his hand, countless ice cubes shattered. Lan Batian sighed. Old man Zhang, you. Lan Batian, who was just about to say something comforting, suddenly stopped because he really didn't know how to speak to comfort him. I understand. It's hard for you today, Zhang Daosheng said weakly. Lan Batian was also silent, glanced at Zhang Daosheng, and then looked at Basin again. Then, I'll go first. The situation of the Lan family is not optimistic. I have to go back and preside over the overall situation. Zan nodded. Thank you, Lan Batian shook his head, stopped talking, waved his wings and left. Teacher, Ye Chen's guitar has a natural appearance. Basin walked to Zhang Daosheng's side and said nervously. Zhang Daosheng said with a wry smile, don't comfort me. Falling into the hands of the beast god cult. He is still a preparatory student of Kankyang Academy. Zan was also speechless. Yeah, simply put, Zhang Daosheng slowly closed his eyes, and all that flashed in his mind was Ye Chen's figure. Old Zhang, I have no money. Old Zhang, you have to pay for this. Old Zhang, I want to become stronger. I'll go with you and let Zhanghe City go. Zhang Daosheng, who had originally adjusted his emotions, couldn't hold back his emotions for a moment, and 2 lines of clear tears fell. Shaking hands took out a cell phone from his pocket. Kinga, Dad, please bring Ye Chen back. It is good. A simple, firm, crisp voice sounded. Then came the sound of hanging up the phone. For Zhang Binking, if he wants to know what happened to his father, He only needs a phone call to investigate clearly. Point. Although most places in Zhanghai City are currently paralyzed, the city owner has already reported the situation to the top management. As soon as Deng Shizhang arrived. Point. It is ridiculous to say that the city lord does not have any strength. But the power is powerful. Point. Beizan, who is sitting in the military region, is powerful, but has no power other than the military region. Point. He even had to obey the city lord's orders. Beizan watched Zhang Daosheng make the call, and the whole person froze in place. Teacher, have you called Sister King? Eyes full of disbelief, and even swallowed. Point. Zhang Daosheng showed an ugly smile. Well, only King can save you, Zhaozi. Bei Zan still didn't react. After all, Zhang Bingqing and his teacher had been cut off for 7 years. Because of that incident, Zhang Bing left Kangqiang Academy in a rage and joined the army. Point. Up to now, for 7 years, I haven't said a word to Zhang Daosheng. Point. Zhang Daosheng didn't say more and left directly towards the school gate. Point. Beizan looked at Zhang Daosheng's figure, and there was a feeling that a hero had ended. Point. In fact, Zhang Daosheng's talent is not bad. It's just that the root cause of the incident was at the beginning, so that he has not yet broken into the Starry Realm. Otherwise he would not be willing to leave Kangqiang College and come to Zhanghai City to be the principal. Point. In the high altitude on the edge of the Lianhe Mountains, Deng Shizhang flew with Ye Chen without saying a word. Hey, old man, where are you taking me? Ye Chen started his language art without hesitation. Point. Deng Shizhang did not speak. What are you arresting me for? You use the wrath of the Seeked, and you don't have much spiritual energy in your body, right? You have just been restrained by Lao Zhang's ice element, right? It seems that the High Realm is also afraid of mutual generation and mutual restraint. By the way, when did you enter the Starry Realm? Can you fly? When you enter the Starry Realm, why did you join the Beast God cult? You talk. Why don't you talk? The blue veins on Deng Shizhang's forehead couldn't help but emerge. Why the fuck are you so many? Why are you 100,000? Ye Chen was surprised. Hey, why do you know that I like to watch 100,000? Deng Shizhang was going crazy and stopped flying immediately. Point. Looking at Ye Chen viciously. Say more fucking words. I'll pull your tongue out. Ye Chen is innocent. If you don't like listening to it, I can shut up. Why are you so fierce? Deng Shizhang roared twice frantically. Shut up. Finally, with a wave of his little hand, a cloud of water instantly appeared, tying Ye Chen's mouth. Well, Deng Shizhang breathed a sigh of relief and finally became a lot quieter, but the next moment, Deng Shizhang spat out a mouthful of old blood. Point. Lan Batian's previous attack was also effective, but he just pretended to be okay. Point. Now that I'm a little stimulated by Ye Chen, it's alright. Chapter 27. I also want to try what IT and -039's like to beat the stars. Ye Chen made crazy calculations in his heart. Point. With this Deng Shizhang in front of him now, there is not one spiritual energy in 10. Point. And seriously injured, but the starved camel was bigger than the horse, which made Ye Chen hesitate. Point. If you have opened a fairy technique, can you fight against it? I saw Deng Shizhang suddenly fall, and a ball of water shot out from his hand. Point. After a while, the ball of water lifted off with a person. Ye Chen looked at the man. His eyes lit up. Point. I was not alone when I was arrested. You too. Are you also caught? Zhu Shen looked at Ye Chen with a puzzled face. Sir, what is he talking about? I don't know, and I don't want to know. Deng Shizhang glanced at Zhu Shen resentfully. Point. Zhu Shen understood it in seconds and slapped Ye Chen on the face. You your mother. Ye Chen was stunned. Point. The water that originally sealed the mouth was also unsealed because of this slap. Am I hitting you? How dare you hit Laozi? Ye Chen's body squirmed frantically, and that little foot kicked Zhu Shen violently. Fuck me. Fuck me. My mom and mom have to die today. Ye Chen roared. Enough. Deng Shizhang was dumbfounded. Ye Chen's mouth was sealed again. So, do you understand why I kept his mouth shut? Deng Shizhang said meaningfully. Point. Zhu Shen looked at Ye Chen in shock, only to see Ye Chen still there. Zhu. Shen's mouth twitched twice. After a while, Ye Chen seemed tired and stopped talking. After half an hour, Dong Shizhang finally returned to the stronghold of the beast god cult in Zhanghai City. When Zhao Zixuan saw Dong Shizhang's return, he immediately stepped forward to show his hospitality. Sir, you're back. Zhao Zixuan looked at Dong Shizhang's tattered body. He hurriedly shouted, come on, prepare a new set of clothes for the adults to take to the room. I saw Dong Shizhang waved his hand. No need. Then he turned his attention to Ye Chen. I want to chat with this kid first. Ye Chen's face was full of doubts, and he still didn't know why these people were looking for him. Then Ye Chen was placed in a dark room. Dong Shizhang was condescending and glared at Ye Chen. I ask you, have you been to the Lionhei Mountains 5 days ago? Ye Chen didn't answer. Tough mouth. Good. Then I'll ask you again. Have you seen a dragon? Ye Chen didn't answer, and Zhao Zixuan was stunned. Dragon. 5 days ago. Then he looked at Zhu Shen with gloomy eyes. Zhu Shen looked back with a smile on his face. Now that Dong Shizhang was his backer, he certainly wasn't afraid of Zhao Zixuan. Zhao Zixuan was naturally aware of this, so he could only swallow his anger. I'll give you a chance. Don't be ignorant, Dong Shizhang was a little angry and stood up from the table. Be honest, where did that dragon go? And when I find that dragon, I can let you live. Ye Chen didn't answer. You fucking talk. Dong Shizhang's voice swept like a thunderous roar. Ye Chen still didn't answer. Right at this moment, Zhao Zixuan timidly opened his mouth. My lord, his mouth seems to be still sealed. The atmosphere at the scene was very embarrassing. Ye Chen looked at Zhao Zixuan with a kind of teachable eyes, full of admiration. Then he looked at Dong Shizhang with contempt. Looking at this scene, Dong Shizhang immediately burst into anger. You motherfucker only said it now. You said earlier that you would die. Dong Shizhang waved his small hand. A water column charged towards Zhao Zixuan. Zhao Zixuan was about to cry. He knew he would stop talking. His eyes rolled, and he fainted. However, Dong Shizhang also understands the sense of proportion. This trick can only teach Zhao Zixuan a lesson, so as not to be injured. Then he unsealed Ye Chen's mouth. Boy, tell me, where did that dragon go? Ye Chen rolled his eyes. I'm hungry. I don't want to answer. Give him something to eat. Dong Shizhang glared at Ye Chen and said angrily. Dong Shizhang didn't care whether Ye Chen would escape or not. After all, he was in an awakening state. If he were to escape, his star realm would be able to break through and rebuild directly. After eating and drinking, Ye Chen burped with satisfaction. Dong Shizhang frowned. Can you talk now? Ye Chen was puzzled. What did you say? Silence. All over. You. Do you really think I won't kill you? Dong Shizhang was impatient. Oh. Raw. You are seriously injured now, so your strength is probably stronger than the peak of the inverted sea realm, right? The spiritual power in your body hasn't recovered much, right? Ye Chen said with a smile. Ye Chen spent a lot of time transmitting spiritual power to the students before, but his physique is not trivial. After this hour of delay, he has recovered to his peak point now, just waiting for the opportunity to do it. Dong Shizhang's eyes narrowed slightly. You mean, can you beat me? Ye Chen laughed dryly. I have this idea. Before the chairman spoke, Zhu Shen suddenly rushed to Ye Chen. Mao Tao. Boy, the hairs haven't even grown yet. How dare you talk to an adult like that? As he said that, he slapped him down again. And Dong Shizhang acquiesced in all of this. I have to say that Zhu Shen, this dog-legged man, did a pretty good job. But what happened next shocked everyone. As an existence in the moving mountains, Zhu Shen's hand is being bound by a tree root at the moment. Everyone was stunned. Would I haven't even asked you to settle the account for that slap before. Do you need to be in such a hurry to find death? Ye Chen's eyes showed a sullen look. He has already communicated. If it is for the wooden dragon, that proves that some of the people in front of them have seen the wooden dragon, but they did not immediately arrest him. That is to say, in their opinion, the wooden dragon is a threat to them. Not to mention the stronger wooden golem and the big Buddha. Now Ye Chen is a little confident. The root of the tree grew wildly, and Zhu Shen was instantly wrapped in the entire tree. Can't move. No matter how strong you are, you can't make room to use force, and it's difficult to break free. Ye Chen slowly stood up from the chair and twisted his neck. Today, I also want to try what it's like to beat the stars. Dung. Shizhang's face was very gloomy. Suddenly, a branch appeared in Ye Chen's right hand as before. As the branches slowly changed, it turned into a sharp spear. Ye Chen started, but the target was not Deng Shizhang. Boy, how dare you? Deng Shizhang was shocked. Although Zhu Shen's strength was not that great, he was still a qualified jerk. That Zhu Shen widened his eyes and watched in horror as the wooden thorn spear flew towards his head. Water, mirror, Deng Shizhang muttered, and in front of Zhu Shen, the light blue shield appeared. It turns out that this thing is a water mirror, Ye Chen thought with a smile. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28. People flee in front, dragons chase after them, and a giant walks behind them. When Zhu Shen saw Deng Shizhang's water mirror appearing in front of him, he immediately felt confident. Hahaha, boy, with your strength, can you kill me? My Lord's shield is super powerful. It's just you? Ye Chen didn't have a clue in his heart, to tell the truth. But after all, this is not the real wood type, but another kind of thing called escape. The wooden thorn spear hit the water mirror, and in an instant, the water mirror was penetrated by the wooden thorn spear. Then Zhu Shen's eyes straightened. Impossible. Bang. Zhu Shen was killed on the spot. Ye Chen smiled. Headshot. I usually have revenge, unless you are lucky. At this moment, Deng Shizhang has put Ye Chen on the must-kill list. You are courting death. The words were full of terrifying killing intent. Ye Chen looked at Deng Shizhang with solemn eyes. Although the opponent's strength is now greatly reduced, the realm is not comparable to himself after all. Quickly get into battle state. Hands together. Snapped. The lines on Ye Chen's face appeared again, and the bright red eyeshadow was like pitch black in the dark room. The breath on Deng Shizhang's body erupted instantly, and the entire villa trembled wildly. Boy, you must die. As Deng Shizhang's breath erupted, the small lake behind the villa also began to change. The water in the entire lake flew straight towards Deng Shizhang. Bang! A huge water polo fell from the sky, and the entire villa collapsed instantly. Ye Chen looked up and was startled, seeing the water polo smashed to him along with the gravel. Ye Chen could only grit his teeth fiercely. Wood style wood expulsion jutsu. A wooden shield shaped like a fang's grimace instantly appeared on top of Ye Chen's head. Boy, mere wood. Also want to block my attack? Are you dreaming? Deng Shizhang mocked wildly, but in the next second, he was so shocked that his eyes almost fell out. I saw the huge crash, and the wooden shield was intact. How is this possible? Deng Shizhang didn't believe this was true at all. Even an attack that could easily smash a stone didn't work. Ye Chen sneered in his heart. Stupid. This is a defense that Uchiha Tsundere only Susan you can't break. However, the current situation is not optimistic. If you don't want to break through, you will be submerged by this water. If you are trapped in the water, you are afraid of suffocating to death. Ye Chen thought of this, clapped his hands. He now must find a way to break the game. That's all there is to it. With the current strength of Ye Chen, although the whole body is full of power, he still dare not use it easily. Wood style. Wooden golem jutsu. A low roar came from under the wooden shield. Deng Shizhang disagreed. You little boy, the awakening realm has used such a powerful defensive technique, and the lights are running out. What more waves do you want to make? Boy, give it up. Don't do the fearless struggle. Tell me honestly where the dragon is. A giant tree broke out from behind Ye Chen, absorbing the spiritual power in Ye Chen frantically. Gradually, the giant tree broke through wood expulsion jutsu. A 100-meter giant tree stands on the top of the sky. Don't refer to the original. This is funny. That Deng Shizhang looked at the tree and fell into contemplation. The power of this kid can make such a big tree. Gradually, Deng Shizhang began to panic a little, saying, what is the use of this tree? Why do I feel like that tree is changing? Deng Shizhang shook his head and took a closer look. Fuck. I don't fucking feel wrong. Dong Shizhang swears in shock. I saw the towering giant tree transformed into limbs, and a head appeared. Unlike Hashirama, Hashirama's wooden golem is fatter, while Ye Chen's wooden golem is leaner. Ye Chen jumped up and jumped to wooden golem's feet. Spiritual power is attached to the soles of the feet. Come on, wooden golem. Fuck him. The 100-meter high wooden golem looks down on Dong Shizhang, as if covering the sky. Dong Shizhang was in a cold sweat. Boy, no, little brother, a misunderstanding. Dong Shizhang swallowed. With such a huge size, only a few sacred monsters have it. Especially that dapping. It is said that spreading his wings can cover the sky and the sun. Dong Shizhang had only heard of it. But now, a behemoth like this really appeared in front of him. Escape. This is the only word in Dong Shizhang's mind right now. Huh. It's called little brother now? Don't you want to find that dragon? I'll make it for you. Ye Chen clapped his hands and narrowed his eyes slightly. Dong Shizhang didn't dare to move now. Wood dragon technique. Ye Chen whispered. From the foot of wooden golem, where Ye Chen stood. A dragon head broke out of the wood. Ye Chen stood firmly on the wooden dragon. Wooden dragon brought Ye Chen to the top of wooden golem. Ye Chen jumped down. Standing firmly above wooden golem's head. Dong Shizhang understood. His mouth was open for too long, and he was a little dry. Little brother, it's all that Zhu Shen. He told me that there are dragons here, and I came here. It's none of my business. Then Zhu Shen has already been killed by you. Why don't you just forget it? It's all a misunderstanding. Ye Chen looked at Dong Shizhang, who looked like a clown, and sneered. Go and tell the king of hell. The wooden dragon swooped down and bit down on Dong Shizhang with its huge mouth. The speed was so fast that Dong Shizhang couldn't react at all. Wooden golem followed, trotting along, the ground shaking with every step. Dong Shizhang barely avoided the attack of the wooden dragon and flew into the air quickly. Damn it's too far from the water. Dong Shizhang was a little anxious. The most water source here is the water in the previous lake, but how much is that water? If condensed into an adult form, it might not even be as big as wooden golem's feet. Is this kid really a wood type? Damn it, what kind of wood is this? Giant Moo? World tree? I'm grass. Dong Shizhang flew all the way towards the beach, and the wooden golem behind him was getting faster and faster. Where the wooden golem steps on, the creature dies like purgatory on earth. The entire forest collapsed in an instant. Dong Shizhang was extremely anxious. The Zhanghai city stronghold, from the seaside, needs to pass through the territory of the West Wind Lion King. This is the closest distance, but if you take such a monster to the Lion King's side, I'm afraid that you will not be able to escape the Lion King's blame. But the arrow is on the string and I have to send it. If it wasn't a little later, I'm afraid I'd be dead. Old man. Who? Ye Chen growled. Dong Shizhang heard the words and shouted, don't fucking chase me. I won't leave. Old man. Are you daydreaming? The wooden golem ran a little slow. After all, it was too big. Thinking of this, Ye Chen jumped directly to the wooden dragon head. Dong Shizhang ran in front, wooden dragon ran after him, and a wooden golem slipped behind him. And the West Wind Lion King, who felt a huge shock, was watching the battle early on. For example, now, hiding in the sky, secretive breath, watching 3 people and 1 dragon chasing battle. Looked delicious, laughing at this Lion King, a star realm, being chased and beaten by an awakening realm. If it spreads out, I'm afraid that I have to live in a different world. As promised, the 4 shifts will start today. Trouble readers and friends, do a little reminder and a little to generate electricity for love. By the way, wave your little hand and give me a 5-star review. There are only 2 book reviews in total. How pitiful and lonely. Chapter 29. Oh, are you going to tear down my house? One more. Old man, even if you run to the beach today, you will die. Ye Chen stood on top of the wooden dragon. Spiritual power runs wildly. It's also interesting to say that the wooden dragon can't fly, can only run on 4 legs, but that's fine, much better than that clunky wooden golem. Ye Chen thought to himself, when there is a chance, he must make the wooden dragon fly. It's faster if you don't run. I'm just old, not stupid. That Deng Shizhang also used the same full of spiritual energy, and he saw that the cave of the West Wind Lion King was in front of him. Deng Shizhang was overjoyed, as if he saw the scene where Ye Chen was broken into pieces by the Lion King. Give up your resistance. What can you do when you run to the beach? Is your current spiritual power enough to control waves hundreds of meters high? Mao Tao boy, I advise you to return to Zhanghai City now, and you can still save a life. Deng Shizhang saw that he was getting closer and closer to the cave of the West Wind Lion King, and became more and more fearless. Ye Chen laughed. Don't let the young master catch you today. You have to let Wooden Golem give you 100 or 80 kicks. Wooden Golem slapped. Ninetales were stunned. 180 feet. You can't be kicked to death. I saw Deng Shizhang's eyes suddenly light up, and the cave of the West Wind Lion King appeared in front of him. And the West Wind Lion King, who was watching from a high altitude, suddenly felt bad. Then, it seems to be my home, right? The West Wind Lion King muttered to himself, then took a closer look. No, this is my house. Without saying a word, Deng Shizhang ran to the West Wind Lion King cave and knelt down on one knee. Deng Shizhang, please rescue me from the West Wind Lion King. Ye Chen stopped Mulong when he heard this and looked at Deng Shizhang with a vigilant look on his face. Westerly Lion King? Did Deng Shizhang say before that this Lion King is in the Bright Moon realm? Thinking of this, Ye Chen's face turned pale. It was over. I played a big game today. I'm a fucking trumpet, and I provoke a Bright Moon realm powerhouse at the beginning. Isn't this courting death? However, the West Wind Lion King was stunned in the sky, eating melon and eating his head. But fortunately, this kid didn't directly smash Laozi cave. A home is nothing. It's mainly the huge wind spirit stone in the cave. Spirit stones themselves are expensive, let alone other spirit stones. Still that big it's hard to find if it's buried. Thinking of this, the Lion King looked at this Ye Chen more and more pleasing to the eye. A few breaths passed by, and the scene was once very embarrassing. Ye Chen has a weird face. What about the Lion King? Old man, it seems that the Lion King is not at home today. You are dead. Deng Shizhang's face changed. I warn you, this is the Lion King's house. If you destroy his house, you will die. TSK. TSK, I killed you. And then the corpse was placed at the door of the Lion King's house. Who knew it was the Lion King's house that I demolished? Just based on the strength of my awakening realm. Ye Chen smiled wickedly. Speaking of getting started, Lion King? Deng Shizhang's face was already pale, but his eyes suddenly lit up. Ye Chen smiled. You treat me as a 3-year-old child? You say the Lion King is the Lion King? Do you think I will believe it? Deng Shizhang glanced at Ye Chen with a weird face. I'm serious. Right behind you. Behind me. Behind me is Wooden Golem. Ye Chen's hand touched his back. A fluffy touch came from his hand. Ye Chen was stunned on the spot, turned his head slowly, and glanced at the 3-meter high human-shaped lion behind him. He swallowed. Lion King. Good afternoon. Have you eaten yet? The West Wind Lion King's face was gloomy. I heard that you are going to demolish my house. Ye Chen was almost crying. There's nothing. I don't dare to give me 10 courage. Deng Shizhang laughed. Little thing, you are dead. Lion King, kill him. Ye Chen couldn't say anything. The breath emanating from the Lion King was too terrifying. Ye Chen felt that if the West Wind Lion King wanted to die by himself, he wouldn't even need to move his fingers. It seems that today is really going to be explained here. Ye Chen smiled dryly. But the next second, the voice of the Lion King made Ye Chen and Deng Shizhang both bewildered. Why should I kill him? The huge palm of the West Wind Lion King stroked his chin. He seemed to be thinking about the reason for killing Ye Chen. Ye Chen's eyes lit up, and it seemed that there was a turning point, because he wants to demolish your house. Deng Shizhang shouted. The West Wind Lion King glared at Deng Shizhang when he heard the words. Isn't this one that hasn't been demolished yet? Besides, didn't you fucking bring it here? What's more, you have demolished my house less before. If you can't beat it, a wave rushed over. If you say that, do I have to kill you 10 or 8 times first? Ye Chen blinked innocently, looked at the Lion King, and then looked at Deng Shizhang. Love and kill each other. Ye Chen muttered to himself. The West Wind Lion King was full of black lines. Now I have found the reason. Ye Chen instantly covered his mouth and shook his head frantically. I didn't say that just now. This shitty bad habit needs to be changed. The West Wind Lion King was too lazy to care about Ye Chen, and then looked at Deng Shizhang and said, although the human race is not strong, it is not weak. I killed this kid for you, and the human race must list me as a must killer. I, the West Wind Lion King, have occupied the Lion-Hai Mountains for so many years, and I can still live, because I never cause trouble. When Deng Shizhang heard this, he suddenly said, then you shouted today, there are countless casualties in Zhanghai City. The West Wind Lion King was stunned. Then it's not like you fucking provoked me. It's over. It's over. Now that I'm causing trouble, I'll just yell. This human race saint demigod can't kill me. Ye Chen's eyes narrowed slightly, and the killing intent gradually rose in his heart. It turned out that the lion's roar was really from Yu Point. Although the killing intent was in his heart, he did not show it. Point can't beat it now. Deng Shizhang, you motherfucker. This king will kill you. Zifeng Lion King's eyes were cold. The wind whistled past Ye Chen's ears. A scream sounded. Beast. Got teach. Won't let you go. So much talk. The huge claws of the West Wind Lion King penetrated Deng Shizhang's heart like sharp blades. Ye Chen was secretly shocked to see that the battle was over too soon. He looked at the West Wind Lion King with a wary expression on his face. A scene that shocked Ye Chen appeared. The West Wind Lion King brought Deng Shizhang's body to him. Little guy, this is all a misunderstanding. After you go back, remember to say a few words of kindness to me. This king really didn't shout that on purpose. I was instigated by this guy, and now I killed him. You take it back, and let the boss spare my life. The West Wind Lion King still remembered standing on the edge of the cliff of the Lion-Hai Mountains when he was young. The Nomi sounded. The sky was torn apart, and an octopus in the bright moon realm was killed in seconds. The guy also looked back at himself and said that he was too weak to be worth his shot. Chapter 30 The Lion King Who is Afraid of Death. 2 more. Ye Chen's 3 views have been infinitely refreshed. This West Wind Lion King, it doesn't seem like what others have said. It seems a little too scared to die. Ye Chen said strangely, if that's the case, you might as well go back to Zhanghai City with me and explain it yourself. The West Wind Lion King thought for a while. It's done. That's it. But little brother, you have to say something nice to me. Ye Chen covered his face and his whole body was bad. This lion, really fucking interesting. Ye Chen lifted wooden golem jutsu and wooden dragon technique. Immortal art was also withdrawn. At the moment when it was withdrawn, he almost fell down, but the West Wind Lion King caught Ye Chen with quick eyes and quick hands. I was stunned on the spot. Good guy, just chasing after a star elm, and now he just fell down. The West Wind Lion King is a bit baffling. After Ye Chen was caught by the West Wind Lion King, he also recovered his sanity. The first time I used so much magic energy, my body was a little overloaded. After all, his own cultivation base is not strong enough, and neither is his physical body. You must know that the reason why Senju Hashirama is so powerful is also because of its huge chakra. Chakra also has the function of a powerful physical body. Otherwise, if you think about it, the Sasuke that chakra used up was shattered with a single punch. If the body can't be strengthened, Madara Susa will slash down, and the shockwave will shake him to death. Hey, boy, you can't die in my arms. The West Wind Lion King was worried. Ye Chen put his hand on the shoulder of the West Wind Lion King. It's okay, it's just too much consumption. The West Wind Lion King looked at Ye Chen's situation and reluctantly changed into a beast body. Come up. Ye Chen was stunned, looking at the West Wind Lion King who had transformed into a beast in front of him. With a majestic look, Ye Chen swallowed. Ah, you serious? Stop talking nonsense. If it weren't for your state, I would screw you away. After Ye Chen heard the determination of the West Wind Lion King, he immediately got up and pulled with both hands and kicked his feet. Stepping on the body of the West Wind Lion King, the West Wind Lion King directly grabbed Deng Shizhang's body with his right paw. Ah, you sitting still? Don't fall down. The Star Elm didn't kill you, but you fell to death. Ye Chen stroked the hair on the West Wind Lion King and nodded frantically. I'm sitting still. The Lion King of the West Wind said that I'm speechless. We are not the same species. Please don't touch me. Okay. And this king is public. The speed of the West Wind Lion King is very fast. Point from the Lionhay Mountains to the city gate. It takes at least 3 hours. And sitting on the Lion King, the speed is even faster than the maglev train. Point no. What kind of thing is a maglev train? And it is also worthy of the speed ratio of the West Wind Lion King. Speaking of which, Lion King, I have something to ask you. Ye Chen said suddenly. What's up? The West Wind Lion King slowed down, thinking about many things in his heart. That's right. Don't tell them about my strength. Ye Chen lay on top of the Lion King and spoke slowly. Why? The West Wind Lion King asked inexplicably. You forgot what talent I am? Ye Chen said helplessly. Talent? Wood type. Wait. That trash type. After all, he wasn't a human being, and the West Wind Lion King finally realized this question. Ye Chen nodded helplessly. Yeah, so if I reveal my strength now, I'll be in big trouble. Really? Pervert. In the future, some people say that the wood type is a waste type. I will directly fight with him. The West Wind Lion King looked depressed. Okay, this is not a big deal. After complaining about Ye Chen's pervert, the Lion King of the West Wind said indifferently. Then it's settled. Ye Chen suddenly hated the Lion King in front of him. Point. Although his lion roar caused heavy losses in the city, and even many people died. Point. But judging from all his actions, it really doesn't seem to be intentional. Ye Chen's heart is messed up. Is it because he is too kind, or is he not so righteous to the human race? Ye Chen sighed deeply and looked at the Lion King below him with tangled eyes. Given the guy's timid nature, it's really unlikely that it was intentional. Even if he really wanted to. Point. You can also do it once a day. Isn't it easy for him in the Bright Moon realm to roar? A few minutes later, Ye Chen and the West Wind Lion King were already above Zhanghe number 1 middle school. Point. Basin is still in the school at the moment, deploying rescue. Point. After all, in the battle just now, Zhanghe number 1 middle school suffered the heaviest losses. Although people were sent to evacuate the crowd before, the battle area was too large after all. Point. At this moment, Zhang Daosheng received a call. I can't help you with your business, then hung up. Point. Zhang Daosheng was stunned, and tears poured out directly. Gone. He thought that Ye Chen was dead, so Zhang Binking said he couldn't help himself. Point. Okay, so here comes the question. How many times did Zhang Daosheng cry today? And the expression of Basin outside the house changed again. What day is it today? Here comes a Dang Shizhang. And now the Lion King is here too. That breath Ling Lai is incomparable, much bigger than before. Point. It seems that it is really like what Dang Shizhang said. It is already in the Bright Moon realm. I saw Basin raised his head, and the next second, his mouth opened extremely huge. Big Brother Bei. I saw Ye Chen sitting on the back of the West Wind Lion King, waving his little hands to greet him. Ye Chen, Bei. Zan was at a loss for words. That was the Bright Moon realm. Brother Bei, I'm back. As the West Wind Lion King landed, Ye Chen also jumped off the West Wind Lion King. Brother Bei, I thought I would never see you again. Ye Chen hugged Basin directly. Point. Basin has nowhere to put his hands. I'm not dreaming, am I? The West Wind Lion King behind him said he was speechless. Haven't you seen him yet? If I didn't show up, don't say that you killed Dong Shizhang. You even demolished my house. Zhang Daosheng, who was immersed in sadness, was stunned as soon as he came out. Ye Chen held Basin and looked at Zhang Daosheng. Point. Zhang Daosheng rubbed his eyes, then turned and left, taking 2 steps, suddenly turned back. Old Zhang, I'm back, Ye Chen said with a smile. Point. Zhang Daosheng couldn't hold back anymore and stepped forward quickly. Point. Basin quickly pushed Ye Chen out of his arms and looked at Zhang Daosheng vigilantly. Ye Chen opened his hands and was about to give Zhang Daosheng a hug. Point. I saw that Zhang Daosheng came up and knocked Ye Chen's head directly. Ouch. Ye Chen yelled while covering his head. Point. Basin, who was beside him, patted his chest and said in fear, I knew. Zhang Daosheng hugged Ye Chen. Just come back. Ye Chen was stunned. Old Zhang, can you not hit me next time? Stop talking nonsense. Today, old man, for you, my tears for the next few decades are all over. What's wrong with hitting you? Zhang Daosheng said righteously. Ye Chen covered his head and felt wronged. But I'm still wounded. Zhang Dao Sheng was anxious when he heard the words, "Where is the injury? Let me see." Cough. "If you continue like this king will vomit." Chapter 31. The price. Protect Zhanghe City for A0 years. Just as Ye Chen and Bazin and Zhang Dao Sheng were feeling emotional, the voice of the West Wind Lion King slowly came from behind. Only then did Zhang Dao Sheng discover that the huge thing at the back, the Lion King of the West Wind, Zhang Dao Sheng exclaimed. Bazin is helpless. "You just found out. I saw a Choku, the West Wind Lion, take the form of a human, and threw Dang Shizhang's body in front of Bazin. Then he said with a straight face, I was sneaked into the sea by this guy before, and escaped at the seaside. This time I happened to meet him chasing and killing this kid. I will help you get rid of him." Zhang Dao Sheng was stunned when he heard the words. He never dreamed of such an ending. Bazin was also a little stunned, although he was shocked by the scene of Ye Chen riding on the West Wind Lion King. But when he heard the West Wind Lion King say so, still kind of weird. I saw the West Wind Lion King scratching his head embarrassedly. "Send this kid back this time. The main thing is that I heard that Myra made a mess in the city. That I want to come over and apologize and see what I can do to make amends." Zhang Dao Sheng and Bazin had already lost their minds. What happened today is unbelievable. I have never dreamed of doing this. Zhang Dao Sheng and Bazin also looked at the West Wind Lion King with tangled eyes. Judging from his aura, this Lion King was definitely in the Bright Moon Realm. The front line of the human race is in an emergency, and there are only a few Bright Moon Realm left in the territory to protect the human race. And now there is a Bright Moon Realm alien beast in front of you. You have to say that it is not my race. People can kill themselves with a slap. But you have to say that the other party is a good beast. His roar caused heavy losses in the city. The loss is not important. It's mainly the old people and the mentally disabled children. The two sighed deeply. The Lion King, please come back. The West Wind Lion King couldn't hold back. "Don't you find something for me to do? I can do anything." The Lion King of the West Wind instantly thought of the octopus in the Bright Moon Realm, which was chopped into 8 pieces in an instant in front of him. "I finally entered the Bright Moon Realm, and I still don't want to die." Zhang Dao Sheng is stunned. "This lion, is he sick? Lion King, please come back first. As for what you caused, we will report it truthfully." Bazin adjusted his breath and said. Hearing this sentence, the West Wind Lion King exploded instantly. "Don't. So, I still have a super large wind spirit stone in my cave. I will give it to you. You will forgive me once." Zhang Dao Sheng and Bazin looked at each other. The Lion King really didn't seem to be joking. The West Wind Lion King looked at Ye Chen pitifully. Ye Chen shrugged helplessly. "Old Zhang, Big Brother Bay, if this guy really wants to pay the price, let him guard Zhanghe City." Seeing Ye Chen speaking for himself, the Lion King of the West Wind hurriedly nodded and said, Defend the city. I can do it." Zhang Dao Sheng's eyes twitched twice. There is a high probability that the siege is an alien beast. You have an alien beast to help the human race defend the city. At this moment, Bazin frowned. The roar of the Lion King passed by in the city. More than 1,400 people died. Some of them were caused by a car accident after losing control of the car after fainting, and most of them were those in the hospital. Poor old man. As for the children, there are quite a few mentally impaired. When Bazin said this, he felt a colic in his heart. If it weren't for the human race's awakening talent, the body would also be strengthened. The death toll is at least tens of times more. The Lion King is a family of alien beasts. How many years do you think you will have to guard the city to recover these losses? This sentence made a Choku, the West Wind Lion, bewildered. The West Wind Lion King really never thought about what price he should pay to make up for it. This king, I don't know either. Since the Lion King doesn't know what to do, why do you think I have the right to be the master? Bazin shook his head. If the Lion King was still in the Starry Realm, he would have started the fight long ago. But he is now in the Bright Moon Realm. However, Bazin knew in his heart that even in the Star Realm, he could only ask the Lion King for an explanation. And now the other party took the initiative to admit his mistake. Instead, Zhang Dao Sheng and Bazin didn't know what to do. Then, ask the Lion King to guard Zhanghe City for the human race for 1,000 years. Ye Chen broke this calm. The two suddenly turned their heads and stared at Ye Chen. Zhang Daosheng and Baizhen are in a bad mood at the moment. Good boy, you really dare to say it. The lifespan of moving mountains is only 300 years. The lifespan of falling seas is 500. And the stars are 1000. The bright moon realm has a lifespan of only 2000 years. The Lion King has been practicing for more than 300 years. You let him keep it for 1000 years. Not afraid of the West Wind Lion King going back. I saw the Lion King, gave Ye Chen a deep look. Zhang Daosheng and Baizhen hurried forward. Don't be angry with the Lion King. Ye Chen is still young and ignorant. It is good. Huh. Zhang Daosheng and Baizhen were stunned. What did the Lion King just say? Ye Chen smiled and said, the Lion King said yes. Zhang Daosheng and Baizhen directly began to doubt life, which is not the same as the script I thought. However, if I protect Zhanghe City, you have to solve my 3 meals a day. Of course, I will find the ingredients myself. The West Wind Lion King swallowed his saliva, already fantasizing about a beautiful life in the future. Zhang Daosheng and Baizhen were completely convinced. This time, he really believed that the Lion King was not joking. The West Wind Lion King silently gave Ye Chen a like behind him. It's really good, so that you can eat and drink in the human race in an open and honest way. As for defending the city, just kidding. I'm the Bright Moon Realm Alien Beast King. Who would dare to come? Although as a Lion King, only one lion. No way. When the aura recovered, the other lions were shot to death by humans. And I was the only one who was lucky enough to escape from the zoo. Baizhen didn't understand the Lion King's brain circuit at all. I will tell the city lord about this, and let him send a few better cooks to prepare food for you. The West Wind Lion King was so happy that he died. Then wait a minute, I'll go home and bring my precious spirit stone here. Zhang Daosheng saw that the West Wind Lion King was gone and quickly pulled Ye Chen over. Boy, Ye, tell me quickly how you escaped. Yeah, I'm curious too. Ye Chen thought about the specific situation and smiled awkwardly. It seems that Dang Shizhang was chased and beaten by me. Oh, it's the Lion King who was looking for Dang Shizhang everywhere, and then we just bumped into it. Ye Chen just made up an excuse to fool the two of them, until one day, the two of them were drinking with the Lion King. The drunk Lion King said, nonsense. Obviously that kid drove a Gundam and chased the old thing Dang Shizhang for hundreds of kilometers. I can see it clearly in the sky. Chapter 30 to land BATIAN and -039. SI's straight when he sees the spirit ST1, 4 shift. Lan Batian had a good conversation with Lan Lengxiang, who had just woken up. Dad, are you saying that Ye Chen is willing to go with that Dang Shizhang for Zhanghe City? Lan Lengxiang was a little shocked. This kind of self-sacrificing spirit is really stupid, but it has to be admired. Lan Lengxiang thought, if it were me, would I do this? Yeah, this kid is really good. When he was taken away, I told him that if he could come back alive, I would consider making him my son-in-law. Lan Batian smiled and looked at Lan Lengxiang. Then his expression darkened again. Although he said so, he knew how to survive the awakening realm in the hands of the Star Elm. Lan Lengxiang unexpectedly did not refute Lan Batian's words. Maybe she never thought that Ye Chen would come back alive, or maybe it was Ye Chen's actions that made her admire, or at least not resist so much. At this moment, Lan Batian suddenly felt a powerful blood pressure. He stood up abruptly and looked at Zhanghe No. 1 Middle School with a solemn expression. Dad, Lan Lengxiang didn't know what happened. Dad, go out. You stay safe. Lan Batian's breathing became more and more rapid. In Zhanghe City, there is only the Lion King who has pressure on his bloodline. What's going on today? Fingai, who appeared behind him, then possessed his body and flew towards Zhanghe No. 1 Middle School. When Lan Batian arrived at the scene, Ye Chen was talking about how he escaped. Brother, Ye. Lan Batian floated in the air. His eyes were like huge light bulbs. Ye Chen looked back. Yeah, Lan, father-in-law. When Lan Batian heard the words, one of them fell out of the air without control. Patriarch. Lan, take it easy. Baizhen was speechless. Yeah, Blue Tiger, you will break the floor of my school later. Zhang Daosheng also said very cooperatively. Lan Batian glared at the two of them. You two shut up. Zhang Dao Sheng and Bei Zan heard the words and hid aside and snickered. Lan Batian got up from the ground, then looked at Ye Chen again and said depressedly, "Father-in-law, your uncle, I was just joking with you. Do you really want to be my son-in-law? You can't let your daughter in just because you really said a word, right? Haha, you said it yourself. Blame me," Ye Chen joked. Lan Batian rolled his eyes at Ye Chen. "By the way, how did you come back?" Ye Chen was stupid. "I just talked to Lao Zhang and Big Brother Bei. I don't want to talk anymore." In the end, Ye Chen still couldn't escape the process of speaking again. Lan Batian listened with gusto. "Good boy, you won't die. You will have good luck. I just said why the Lion King came to Zhanghai City all of a sudden. It scared me a lot." Lan Batian suddenly shook his head. Very helpless. The blood pressure is too serious. Their group of elemental talents and special types do not have such troubles, relatively speaking, like their beast talents. The mutual restraint between superiors and subordinates is not just as simple as freezing water. The suppression of the bloodline can directly make the opponent have no power to fight back. Of course, some people are strong-willed, and this is not the case. So it also varies from person to person. The speed of the West Wind Lion King is not comparable to Lan Batian. As soon as he heard that he moved, there was a chef who specially cooked for him. The Lion King's speed soared to 803. Just kidding. When Ye Chen was on his back, wasn't he trying to estimate him? Otherwise, the Lion King would have arrived in Zhanghai City early. I saw the four of them chatting and laughing, and Bei Zan had already reported the death of the human race traitor Dang Shizhang to the upper level. When the upper floors heard what the West Wind Lion King had done, they were immediately stunned. It would be great if all the beasts in the world were as sensible as the West Wind Lion King. As for those mentally damaged children, the Daksha Federation will naturally fund the solution. With today's technology, this is not an incurable injury. It's a pity for those who died. At this moment, Lan Batian felt something. Suddenly looked up. Wind element, spirit stone. So big. Lan Batian's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. A huge wine-type spirit stone was suspended in mid-air. Judging for the first time, this thing was more than 100 tons. Below the spirit stone, a half-human half-beast existence was holding him up. A group of people looked at such a big spirit stone. Their eyes were straight, not to mention the wind element. Lan Batian, "I'm here. Where do I live? Where is this spiritual stone? When will dinner be served?" Bei Zan was stunned. There is no specific plan given above, although the upper levels agreed to this matter. It was a city lord's side to decide where to place the West Wind Lion King. Zhang Dao Sheng covered his face and said helplessly, "Since this is the case, the Lion King should live in the school first." The West Wind Lion King looked disappointed and murmured, "What's a good place to live in a broken school?" Although the voice is very small, everyone is in the sea level. Especially Lan Batian, looking at the huge wind element spirit stone, drooling. Before the Lion King, "Senior, if you don't dislike it, why don't you live in my house? My yard is several thousand square meters. I will now order the family to build a palace for you right now." Palace? The West Wind Lion King's eyes lit up when he heard these two words. Bei Zan and Zhang Dao Sheng shook their heads. How could they not see Lan Batian's thoughts? Cough. "It's not impossible." The West Wind Lion King coughed twice and then said a sentence which made Lan Batian so scared that he lost his soul. "Little tiger, you won't be coveting my wine-type spirit stone." The West Wind Lion King looked at Lan Batian with a wicked smile. Lan Batian waved his hand quickly. No, how is it possible? How could I, Lan Batian, be such a person? Absolutely not. Well, I'm still thinking about what you want. I can give you a little bit of it. It seems it's not necessary. The West Wind Lion King grinned wickedly. Lan Batian blushed. Senior Lion King is joking. Ye Chen's stomach hurts as the three of them laugh aside. In the end, the West Wind Lion King still lived in the Lan family. But it's not bad. After all, the Lan family's reputation in Zhanghai City is quite good. Every time Zhanghai City was in trouble, the Lan family was the first to bear the brunt. This is also the end of the story. Ye Chen returned home, and the exhaustion instantly flooded into his heart point. Since that lion roar sounded, he has been in a tense state point, and Zhang Daosheng and the others fought against Deng Shizhang, and then they controlled Wooden Golem to chase down Deng Shizhang point. I was scared by the Lion King, and broke into a cold sweat again. After twists and turns, anyone would be very tired, right? What's more, Ye Chen's current realm has only awakened the 6 realms. Chapter 33 The Three Saints of the Human Race. Zhang Bingking. Interesting. Zhang Bingking looked at a mirror in front of him. The corners of his mouth raised slightly point as one of the 3 saints of the human race. His subordinates have strange natural abilities. Although Zhang Bingking was Zhang Daosheng's daughter, her talent did not inherit her father's ice system like his big brother Zhang Zilei point. It is an upgraded body with the talents of both parents' Ice Phoenix, mythical beast talent. In front of her, Feng Yahu and Zifeng Lion King. Us scumbags, there are only 2 alien beasts. How dare you compete with the divine beast for glory? When Zhang Bingking awakened his talent, Zhang Daosheng looked sad. Is this really his daughter? Awakened at the age of 6, moved mountains at the age of 7, and fell into the sea at the age of 9. Stepping into the starry realm at the age of 12, at the age of only 25. Now, he has crossed the semi-sanctified realm and stepped directly into the holy realm. It is also one of the top combat powers of the current human race, and her subordinates are the users of that mirror talent. This mirror is not an ordinary thing. Like Base and Sky Sword, it belongs to a special kind of talent. The name of the mirror is Far Viewpoint Special Auxiliary Talent. The function is to watch what the person you want to watch is doing now. It can be used on the enemy or on those who miss it, and will not be detected by the other party, but the viewing time is limited. For example, a talented person in the Bright Moon realm can watch people in the same realm for 1 minute, in the Starry realm for 10 minutes. Under the Starry realm, there are basically no restrictions. If you look at the Scorching Sun mirror, you can only look at it for 10 seconds. And if you want to watch a breath, you will have to pay a huge price. King. Uncle Zhang's new disciples are quite strong, Lin Jing said. While eating potato chips, Zhang Bingking nodded. The awakening realm has such a powerful strength. Rare. Not only wow, he is a wood type. Wow, hasn't the wood type always been an auxiliary type? Lin Jing shouted loudly. Zhang Bingking was a little helpless. Eat your potato chips. You can't even stop your mouth. Zhang Bingking had already begun to doubt his life. Even when he was moving to the mountain realm, he couldn't do the feat of chasing and killing Fangsing realm. Although it is a wounded starry realm, and his wooden dragon and wooden golem, not to mention other things, the physical attack alone is already scary. Every step of the wooden golem, even the sea mountain range, was shaking violently. Moreover, he has only awakened, and the upper limit is very large. When he reaches the starry realm, he reaches the semi-holy realm. Using wooden golem again, can it shatter the void, or does he have a stronger talent? Zhang Bingking can see clearly through the mirror. When the West Wind Lion King appeared, Ye Chen's hands trembled slightly, and he subconsciously clasped his hands together. The first time he put his hands together, the huge shield appeared. The second time you put your hands together, wooden golem appears. The third time is the wood dragon. What is the fourth time? Zhang Bingking's curiosity about Ye Chen instantly filled up. Judging from Ye Chen's methods, the effect of the group attack can already be conferred. In the event of a frontline battle, wooden golem and wooden dragon rush into the enemy group. Zhang Bingking looked into the distance. If there is one more demigod in the human race, or if it is a holy realm. Oh, how easy is it to say a demigod? Ye Chen. I hope that in the next few decades, you will have a place in this world, and you can protect the world's peace. Ye Chen didn't know that his actions had already been targeted by an existence that had almost reached the blue star ceiling point, and also had high hopes, and I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Ye Chen slept soundly this time. After all, he finally escaped the catastrophe point, and he was really tired. This time, Ye Chen completely understood his weakness. It seems that this time he is able to smash the Star Elm, but it is only a seriously injured Star Elm. Not to mention the Lion King and the Bright Moon realm. In an instant, Deng Shizhang was killed, not to mention the self who only had an awakening point when he woke up in the morning. Ye Chen didn't see Li Xiaodi, so he had no choice but to come to Zhang Daosheng hungry. Getting up so early, Zhang Dao Sheng was a little surprised. Why don't you rest for a while? Yesterday. Ye Chen waved his hand. It's alright. It's almost done. And aren't you going to that secret realm today? Ye Chen mentioned the secret realm, and Zhang Dao Sheng only reacted, yeah. What happened yesterday was so sudden, I forgot about it. But, are you sure your body can exercise vigorously now? Zhang Dao Sheng asked suspiciously. Oh, I've awakened to the 6 realms. Do you think I'm a 6 seedling with no strength? Ye Chen shrugged helplessly. Okay, then let's go. Zhang Dao Sheng looked at Ye Chen and didn't seem to be trying to be brave. I didn't say anymore. The Blue family. The back mountain. A huge palace is accelerating construction. On a huge spiritual stone not far away. A huge lion was lying on it and basking in the sun leisurely. Yo, isn't this the Lion King? Ye Chen came up and gave the West Wind Lion King a big dick. The West Wind Lion King lazily opened his eyes and glanced at the approaching person. It's you, Yuzaozi. Then he closed his eyes and continued to meditate. Don't say you came to see me on purpose. TSK. TSK. If I say goodbye yesterday, I miss Lion King very much. Lion King, do you believe it? Ye Chen said with a wicked smile. Zhang Dao Sheng, who was on the side, was speechless, and the whole person was not easy to come. It's too late for others to hide from the Lion King in the Bright Moon realm, so you'd better just get together. Don't be the Lion King all the time. This king has a name. It's called Zifeng. The Zifeng Lion King gave Ye Chen a blank look. West Wind is his title, his attribute, and his name. All I can say is that it was really arbitrary that your father named you. A certain author. Fart. This is a name I picked up from a certain game. All readers, oh, you are too lazy to even choose a name. Oxiaoxy, Ye Chen said with narrowed eyes. Cough. Cough. Zhang Dao Sheng on the side almost choked to death. Boy, you are immoral. There is no big or small. Although this king is not a human being, he is still hundreds of years older than you. Looking at Ye Chen. Hahaha. Okay, let's not make trouble with you. Where is Big Brother Lan? Ye Chen asked the construction worker beside him. The worker was completely stunned by Ye Chen's sudden questioning. Cowardly. He didn't know what to say. After all, he was only a part-time worker, so how could he possibly know where the Lan family's head was? In the hall. Go in and look for it yourself. Don't hinder this king from basking in the sun. The West Wind Lion King said angrily. Zhang Dao Sheng has become an audience. Good guy. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. This kid Ye Chen. However, Ye Chen had already seen the power of the Bright Moon Realm Lion King for a long time. Ye Chen ran away with a smirk on his face, then clapped his hands and took Zhang Dao Sheng into the living room of the Lan family. After a while, a roar came from the back mountain. Boy, your uncle. I saw the Lion King slap the wood blocking the sun with a slap. The West Wind Lion King was so angry that he silently moved the spirit stone away and continued to bask in the sun. But the next second the Lion King was even more angry. After he changed positions, the wood retracted into the ground again. Little boy. Chapter 34. The 3-person who entered the secret realm turned out to be 2 more. Zhang Dao Sheng was stunned in the living room. What happened to this West Wind Lion King? Why do you suddenly get angry? He wouldn't suddenly break in and kill Ye Chen, would he? Yo, why did Brother Ye annoy the Lion King right away? Lan Batian walked downstairs with a smile, followed by his daughter Lan Lengxiang. Brother, Lan is joking. How dare I provoke the Lion King? Ye Chen waved his hand with an expression that was none of my business. The genius Lan didn't believe Ye Chen's nonsense, but he didn't say anything. Zhang Dao Sheng glanced at Lan Batian. The wind element spirit stone is very useful to you. Compared with yesterday, Lan Batian's breath has grown a lot. Yesterday's battle made me go a step further, and the wind element spirit stone also allowed me to absorb more spiritual energy, and it is normal to have some diligence. Lan Batian, this tiger force has become humble. This made Zhang Dao Sheng a little shocked. How can you be humble? Cough. Cough. I don't want to. Isn't this the Lion King outside? I'm afraid that one day I will pretend to be on him, and I will be finished. PFFD. Ye Chen and Lan Lengxiang couldn't help laughing after hearing this. Who can blame this? You invited back this god to yourself. Ye Chen teased point Lan Batty and scratched the back of his head. The Lion King is still pretty good. At least I absorbed the aura emanating from the wind element spirit stone. He didn't object, and he agreed to let me go to practice for a while every day, and even gave me instructions on how to use the wind. Zhang Daosheng looked at Lan Batian enviously. It seems to have benefited a lot. The old man is a little jealous. You're not from the wind element. There's nothing you can do. Lan Batian burst into laughter when he saw Zhang Daosheng's envious look. Speaking of which, should we get down to business? Ye Chen interrupted the chat between the two. After all, let them talk, and the business will be left behind. Hey, isn't it the secret realm? It's been prepared a long time ago, but I have to wait for someone. Who are you waiting for? Ye Chen was curious. Who still needs Lan family patriarch and Zhang Daosheng to wait? People from the Yan family. Lan Lengxiang said suddenly, with disgust for the Yan family in his eyes. When Ye Chen heard the Yan family, his whole body became unwell in an instant. His eyes narrowed slightly. The Yan family in the imperial capital. Zhang Daosheng and Lan Batian instantly heard a different flavor from Ye Chen's tone. Brother, did you have a holiday with the Yan family? Ye Chen nodded slightly. After all, the people in front of him were people who had a relationship with each other, and Lan Batian was a good person. He directly told what Yan Feng had done when he came to Imperial Capital University. Dad, look, I'll just say this Yan family is disgusting. Lan Leng gave Lan Batian a blank look. Lan Batian was a little embarrassed in an instant. I don't want to cooperate with the Yan family, but after all, they have paid for it. If I had known that brother Ye had a holiday with the Yan family, I would not have sold it to him. Lan Batian is also very helpless. After all, he only has one daughter. You can't even sell the qualifications for the secret realm. What a waste. It's alright. Who is the Yan family planning to send into the secret realm? Ye Chen didn't care at all. Now he knows his own strength very well. Under the state of full strength, the sea can be cut. The eldest son of the Yan family is already in the sea level. If it is a secret realm, it should be the second son, Yan Feng. Zhang Daosheng thought for a moment and said immediately, in that secret realm, can you kill someone? Ye Chen's tone was full of killing intent. This Yan Feng was going to kill himself just because he refused to join the Imperial University. This made Ye Chen want to kill him. If I keep this kind of person, I'm afraid it will harm more people, so let's just let him die in my hands. Zhang Daosheng was startled. You can't talk nonsense. The Yan family is powerful. The family that took root in the imperial capital. It is said that the Yan family once owned a demi-sage, but it has since fallen. Of course this is just a legend. Who knows if it's true? I don't think it's a big problem. Lan Batian narrowed his eyes slightly. The secret realm is closed. No one knows what's going on in the secret realm, and if Yan Feng dies, Ye Chen, as an auxiliary department, who knows, you will kill it. Lan Batian analyzed it very naturally. Dad, then have you considered me? Lan Leng's eyes turned blank. You really don't treat your daughter as a human being. You are so weak. Don't worry about you being suspected. Everyone is speechless. Then, what if he wants to do to me, your precious daughter? Lan Lengxiang asked with a crooked neck. In an instant, the atmosphere was very heavy. I heard that Yan Feng is a lecher himself, and it is really possible to do such a thing. Zhang Daosheng made up for it. He dares. Lan Batian was instantly angry, and now it's over. If you sell a quota, you might have to put your own daughter in, which is unbearable. Fortunately, Zhang Daosheng brought this up. The Yan family has a great career. If they really want to do something to Lan Lengxiang afterwards, Lan Batian had nothing to do with them. Boy, Yi, are you sure you can kill him? Ye Chen showed an evil smile and nodded. At this moment, the Yan family was at the gate of Zhanghe City. Master, I heard that Lan Batian's daughter is extremely beautiful, and her talent is SSS level. The person who spoke was Yan Feng's personal bodyguard and part-time housekeeper. Oh, then you said that this young master is here, and there is still an unexpected harvest? Yan Feng's eyes instantly lit up. That's right. The Lang family is only a small family in a remote area. Luckily, he has a talent for SSS. If the young master can cook raw rice and make it into a wife and concubine, after the Yan family there must be an extra starry realm or even a bright moon realm. If the talent is good enough, the scorching sun realm is not impossible. Chen Xiang became more and more excited as he talked, as if he was the hero. Of course, Chen Xiang was also thinking about this for so many years. All the women that Yan Feng was tired of playing were given to Chen Xiang. Although it was played by the young master, who was Yan Feng. If it doesn't look good, it's impossible for him to start. So although Chen Xiang said this to Yan Feng, what if, in case Yan Feng gets tired of playing Lan Lengshan, then you, thinking of this, Chen Xiang's eyes were full of lust. Facts have proved that what kind of young master has what kind of servant. When Yan Feng heard Chen Xiang's words, he couldn't hold back his lower body instantly. There is such a good thing. Yan Feng calmed down. In the current generation of the Yan family, the direct line only consists of himself and his eldest brother, but it goes without saying that big brother's talent is far more than 10 blocks away from himself. It is already the existence of the inverted C, but indeed, if he can get Lan Lengshan, his status in the Yan family will be greatly improved in the future. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35, Chen Xiang, who only lived for 2 chapters, 3 shifts. Chen Xiang, you are really my great military advisor. Yan Feng looked at Chen Xiang with a smile on his face. Then, you say, what should I do? Chen Xiang pondered for a while and took out a pill from his pocket. You know, young master, the same old way. Then a wicked smile appeared. This pill is colorless, odorless, and dissolves instantly in water. It's not the first time that Chen Xiang has given Yan Feng a shot. Yan Feng smiled evilly and nodded, as if he had seen the Lan Lengshan of the Lan family under him. On the Lan family side, they have already discussed how to kill that Yan Feng. Just then, an arrogant and domineering voice came from the door. Young Master Ben is here, and the Lan family won't come out to pick up the guests. Yan Feng strode into the Lan family's living room. Looking at the living room with a look of disgust. The shabby place, the place where the guests are connected, can't be on the table. Lan Lengshan heard the words, and the whole face instantly became cold. With a cold face, he said, if you don't get into your eyes, you can leave. When Yan Feng heard this crisp voice, he immediately fell. The whole person looked directly in the direction of Lan Lengshan, and in an instant, his heart beat violently. Beautiful. It's so beautiful. My young master likes. Yan Feng was already fascinated by Lan Lengshan with just one glance. Zhao Xuan, what you said is wrong. If it doesn't catch his eyes, it's better to dig out your eyes, then you don't have to look at it. Ye Chen's voice came up from behind Lan Batian. Putting his hands on Lan Leng's shoulders, he sneered slightly. Yo, isn't this the guy who lost half of his arm? Is the arm connected? When Yan Feng heard Ye Chen's voice, he immediately felt bad. He was all too familiar with this voice. Ye Chen, why are you here? Why can't I be here? It's you. Why are you here? Ye Chen joked. Yan Feng was furious. Chen Xiang, kill him. Yes, young master. Chen Xiang responded. Without saying a word, he directly attacked Ye Chen. Boy, if you want to blame it, blame you for messing with my young master. A white light slammed down on Ye Chen, and a boulder instantly appeared on top of Ye Chen's head. Crashed down. Zhang Daosheng narrowed his eyes slightly, and an ice wall helped Ye Chen block the attack. Lan Batian instantly appeared in front of Ye Chen, and blocked Chen Xiang's attack. Your Excellency, do you not take me Lan someone in your eyes? Lan Batian's tone was full of hostility. Chen Xiang saw that he did not gain an advantage in one blow, and instantly opened the distance. What are you? You're at the peak of the sea level. Any one of my Yan family is better than you. Chen Xiang mocked. Oh. Then why are you only in the sea level? Ye Chen asked suddenly. Chen Xiang's face suddenly collapsed. Boy, you are courting death. Lan Batian, get out of the way for me, or I'll kill you together. Chen Xiang activated his talent, and a white stone appeared in his hand. The superior of the earth element, the rock element. Yo, this is a guest, let me see who wants to kill you. Xiao's heroic voice came, low and domineering, which one doesn't have eyes to interrupt. Chen Xiang was furious. How can you say this? For a moment, the whole room was silent. Only the sound of gulping remains, even that Yanfeng closed his mouth at this moment, sweating coldly. This stupid thing started scolding without seeing clearly what existence it was coming from. Ye Chen and others were immediately dumbfounded. Who is this person? This is too brave, right? Oh my god, it's the first time I've seen such a brave person in my life. I don't have eyes? The West Wind Lion King's face darkened. The figure disappeared instantly, and the sharp claws cut through Chen Xiang's throat. It's over. Lan Batian covered his face and cried helplessly. Yanfeng couldn't say a word. That sense of oppression was only felt by his grandfather. Bright Moon Realm. Absolutely Haoyu Realm. Chen Xiang covered his neck, unable to breathe, blushed and fell down. The moment he fell, he could see clearly what kind of existence the person who killed him was. Blood-stained the entire hall. Boy, Lan, I've caused you trouble. You can clean up this place yourself. The West Wind Lion King said nonchalantly. He has now decided that Zhanghai City is not easy, especially that kid Ye Chen. And Lan Batian's talent is not bad. His daughter is even better. Bet your chips on them, and you shouldn't lose badly. Who is his master? The West Wind Lion King glanced at the people around him. Yanfeng stood up with a promise. It's a junior. The West Wind Lion King glared at him. The one who killed him was called the West Wind Lion King. Haoyu Jing. Do you know? If you want revenge, find me, understand? Yan Feng nodded violently when he heard the words. Huh? Do you really want to take revenge on me? Yan Feng was about to cry and shook his head quickly. Seeing this, the West Wind Lion King nodded with satisfaction. Well, Ruzi can be taught. Hey, Xiaoxi, how can you kill people casually? Those who don't know think that we are xenophobic in Zhanghai City. Ye Chen complained helplessly. Yanfeng's whole person is not well. Xiaoxi, what the hell? Is that so? Okay, next time I try to ask if you can kill first. After saying that, Xiaochoku took it and ran away. Yanfeng was so frightened that his legs became weak. What is the origin of this Ye Chen? Why is this Lion King so familiar with him? No. Not only are they familiar with each other, but they seem to be listening to Ye Chen's words. It seems that Zhanghai City shouldn't be here. Although the Yan family is powerful, at present there is only the previous generation of the Yan family in the Scorching Sun realm. The owner of this generation is his Yanfeng's father. The previous generation is his grandfather. Bright Moon realm has many. However, the physical strength of the human race is not as strong as the alien beast. Like the wine type alien beast. The melee speed is very fast, and the fight is basically melee. Being stuck by such a beast will basically kill you. Can't even pull the distance. So if you want to kill the West Wind Lion King, you must have 2 or 3 Bright Moon realm. Although Yanfeng is the second young master of the Yan family, his strength is too low, and he is just a scoundrel. It is impossible for the family to provoke a strange beast of the Bright Moon realm. For Yanfeng, young Master Yan, you have already died, so don't panic. We can't eat you, right? Ye Chen teased. Yanfeng can't lose his temper now. My heart is full of violence, and when I enter the secret realm, I will kill you immediately. The rest of the time is for me and the little lady. Thinking of this, Yanfeng lowered his head with an evil smile. This time is not like the last time. Yanfeng is already the existence of the 6 realms, and the family gave some treasures. The so-called treasures are the armor and weapons excavated from some ruins. Entering spiritual power can have defense or attack methods to deal with a Ye Chen who has only been awakened for a few days. Isn't it within your grasp? At that time, Lang Lengshan will be in my hands, and see who dares to do something to this young master. Chapter 36 Secret Realm, Glacier World. 4 more. In Yanfeng's storage ring, there are a lot of spirit stones and treasures. This is something that can't be helped. Even though Yanfeng's status in the Yan family is not very high. But after all, he is also the young master of the Yan family. Even if he is not favored, He is not comparable to ordinary people. But he thought wrong about one thing. That is, as long as his strength didn't reach the starry realm, he would die in Ye Chen's hands. If he knew that Deng Shizhang, the starry realm, was chased by Ye Chen from the beast god cult stronghold to the Lianhe mountains, he didn't know how he would feel. However, soon, he will know what despair is. Yanfeng didn't know all of this. But the West Wind Lion King looked at Yanfeng with pity. After all, Ye Chen's words just now, he also heard clearly. Lan, Patriarch, since everyone has gathered, let's get started. Yanfeng couldn't hold it any longer. It's so awkward to be here. At present, the guards he brought are dead, and the only ones left by him are the scumbags of the mountain movement and awakening realm. The moment I saw the Lion King, I was like a mute, not daring to say a word. He didn't expect them either. Thinking of this, Yanfeng glanced at the group of servants in disgust. Hearing Yanfeng's words, Lan Batian put his eyes on Ye Chen with a vague expression. Ye Chen nodded slightly. Before Yanfeng came, Ye Chen revealed a little bit of strength, such as super self-healing, powerful flesh, and with thorns that can easily penetrate steel plates. This made everyone refresh their views. But when this group of people was shocked, the West Wind Lion King was speechless in the back mountain. When did this kid pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger? I'm getting a little bored. Although Ye Chen showed great strength, Zhang Daosheng was still a little worried. But there is nothing to do with Ye Chen. After all, Ye Chen has already decided and will not change. Ye Chen has been wanting to kill this guy for a long time, since Yanfeng left that day, and he finally seized the opportunity. How can you give up so easily? Then, let's start. Lan Batian took out a knife from the ring. Delicate and small, very cute. Ye Chen was a little shocked. This is the secret key. On the contrary, Yanfeng's eyes lit up. This is a good thing. Rift keys also determine the types of items that exist in the rift. Such as auxiliary types and weapons, and so on. And the secret key in the shape of a knife can also show that the secret should be a weapon. There was once a semi-sage who entered a secret realm, and the secret realm key was a long spear. The half-sage obtained a spear of unknown level and killed a holy beast with the power of the half-sacred. Although Yanfeng was not knowledgeable, he was considered to be well informed. After all, the starting point is not the same. While other people are learning knowledge, most of the children of aristocratic families are already understanding the history of the rise and fall of the human race. Lan Batian took out the key with a very solemn expression. You ready? Ye Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. It's alright, big brother Lan. Batian injected spiritual energy into the key, and the key emitted a nice blue light. Ye Chen was shocked. Big brother Lan, the secret key to Lan Lengshan was not prepared for Lan Lengshan long ago, right? Even the attributes are ice type. Who are the weapons in this place? Anyone with a discerning eye knows. Thinking of this, Ye Chen couldn't help but glance at Lan Lengshan and Lan Batian. Ye Chen murmured, it really is a daughter slave. Lan Batian's mouth twitched fiercely. This kid. The icy blue light became stronger and stronger, and the whole key turned into a ball of light and flew forward. A portal appeared instantly. This scene made Ye Chen secretly amazed. After all, things like portals were often seen in games in the past life. But the real portal is the first time I have seen it. Okay, let's go. Lan Batian seems to have spent a lot of spiritual power in urging the secret key, and even talking is weak, but he then gave Ye Chen a fierce look. He still remembered that Ye Chen said that he was it's a daughter thing. Boy, Ye, protect my daughter, do you hear me? Lan Batian said fiercely. Ye Chen smiled and said, don't worry, big brother Lan, I will take good care of my niece. Lan Lengshan looked directly at Ye Chen. Why didn't I protect you? Besides, who is your niece? Shameless, then. He stepped into the portal first. Ye Chen laughed dryly and followed. Yanfeng also stepped into the portal without saying a word. The moment he stepped into the portal, Yanfeng raised an evil smile on the corner of his mouth. Ye Chen, you're dead. The moment Ye Chen stepped into the teleportation formation, a cold breath rushed towards his face. At that moment, Ye Chen was depressed, sloppy, no clothes. What catches the eye is the endless glacier. This secret, a bit desolate. Even Lan Lengshan is a little unnatural. Although he is of the ice type, He is not strong enough to ignore all the cold. On the other hand, Yan Feng's condition was much better, but it wasn't much better as a fire element. He came to a world of ice element. No matter how you think about it, it's a bit out of place. But this is him. In this icy world, he can still maintain his body temperature. After Yan Feng came in, he didn't immediately choose to do it. After all, Lan Lengshan was by Ye Chen's side. 1-on-2 in this icy world. The opponent also has an ice type, which is definitely an unwise choice. Ye Chen underestimated Yan Feng and thought that he would do it. As soon as he entered the secret realm. I didn't expect to observe the environment and wait for the time. Sure enough, the villains in the book are all things like ZZ. I can't believe it. Ye Chen thought of this and shook his head. Yan Feng looked at Ye Chen's shivering body and was immediately very happy. Ye Chen is a wood type guy. In this icy world, the most important thing is temperature. When Ye Chen can't hold it anymore, he can almost start. However, Lan Lengshan ignored this and turned around and walked to the portal. The portal then turned into a compass. Ye Chen is silent. Good guy. Your secret realm is all technological. Huh. Lan Lengshan glanced at the compass, then glanced at Ye Chen. Let's go. Then, striding forward alone, Ye Chen glanced at Yan Feng again. Shrugged. Let's go, young master. When Yan Feng heard this, his anger grew even stronger. Are you calling me young master? This is mocking me. However, he forcibly suppressed his anger, and now is not the time. He followed without a word. Looking at Lan Lengshan's graceful figure, Yan Feng felt a little depressed. In this icy and snowy place, where are you going to do business? Don't talk about doing business. You can't even think about it. Okay, the endless glaciers and the temperature will tell you what it means. To be young, people should be calm. Chapter 37. Such a cold day. Still have a fever? 1. As Lan Lengshan went deeper into the glacier, Ye Chen already felt unwell. Brother, Lan, you're killing me. I knew I should prepare more clothes. Ye Chen said shiveringly. Lan Lengshan frowned and took Ye Chen's arm with his little hand. Ye Chen was stunned, and then a coolness poured into Ye Chen's body. I have to say that Lan Lengshan has learned a lot of knowledge. According to her understanding, the current temperature is getting lower and lower, and her own ice cannot reach such a low temperature. Give Ye Chen some of his spiritual power, and Ye Chen will feel better. Ye Chen understood immediately. My good niece is really good. Yan Feng, who was behind him, saw this scene. His teeth were about to collapse. Lan Lengshan of course knows that Yan Feng's fire element will keep warmer, but the relationship between Ye Chen and Yan Feng is there. Lan Lengshan's eyes stopped on Ye Chen, and he sighed, towing the oil bottle. Ye Chen was embarrassed. Well, for now, it is indeed a dragging oil bottle. Then Ye Chen silently shouted to the system in his heart. Then, what? Wait for the check-in to keep me warm. It's really not good. It's just fire. Learn. After getting a positive answer from the system, Ye Chen silently gave a thumbs up in his heart. As expected of the system. Love. With a compass pointing, or rather a pointing compass. The needle on the compass does not point to south. It's the place of uncharted opportunity. As I said before, the secret realm is actually a different space left by some ancient races or alien beast races. If the space left by alien beasts is mostly innate skills and attribute spirit stones, if it is left by the human civilization race, it will most likely be equipment to increase spiritual power. Suddenly, Ye Chen stopped. Wait. Ye Chen pulled Lan Lengshan down and squatted down, looking at the distance with a dignified expression. Lan Lengshan didn't speak. Although Ye Chen was a bit cheap, he wouldn't fall off the chain at a critical moment. He said, wait, something must have happened. Sure enough, a village appeared not far away. The village is relatively simple, with a few wooden houses and a few bonfires. There are also several strange humans in animal skin clothes near the campfire. It turns out that this is a human in the secret realm that Lao Zhang said before. Ye Chen's eyes narrowed slightly, which was interesting. And Yan Feng, who followed Ye Chen and others, naturally noticed the village not far away. Then the corner of his mouth raised slightly, and he secretly retreated a few hundred meters away. What should I do now? Lan Lengshan stared at Ye Chen and asked. Ye Chen took a breath. I still don't know how powerful these humans are. It's best not to act rashly. I can only take a detour. At This moment, a fireball flew towards Ye Chen and Lan Leng. The temperature of the flame was very hot. Ye Chen quickly protected Lan Lengxiang behind him. After all, he has the ability to heal himself, and it is nothing to be injured. But if Lan Lengxiang is injured, I'm afraid that he will lose his ability to fight. But Yan Feng's fireball wasn't to kill Ye Chen and Lan Lengxiang. The fireball was close behind Ye Chen and the two of them. A loud explosion followed, and flames burst out everywhere. Ye Chen was shocked. It's over. Looking back in the direction of Yan Feng, I saw that Yan Feng had already disappeared. He quickly looked towards the village again. Sure enough, several male natives were pointing in this direction and muttering something. Lan Lengxiang's lips turned white with fright. She didn't have the strong physique of Ye Chen before she awakened to the three realms. Now, what should I do? Lan Lengxiang swallowed. Ye Chen took Lan Lengxiang's hand and ran in the other direction. Our current location has been found, but the other party still doesn't know what our situation is. The first thing to do is to hide our figure. Ye Chen looked at a huge glacier not far away and hurriedly ran towards it. In fact, Ye Chen felt something was wrong the moment he came to this secret realm. The wood-style bloodline boundary is evolved from the two attributes of water and soil. Hashirama's art is also to inspire a seed to fall to the ground, but this is an endless glacier with a radius of hundreds of miles. Can't see any trace of soil. Ye Chen, who tried to use wood style, was a little helpless. Anything is a stone, but the problem is no. Ye Chen, run slowly. I can't run anymore. Lan Lengxiang said breathlessly. Lan Lengxiang, who had awakened to the three realms, could no longer keep up with Ye Chen's speed. Ye Chen frowned, and without saying a word, directly picked up Lan Lengxiang. You. Lan Lengxiang said shyly. Shut up, hold tight. Ye Chen growled. The priority now must be to hide behind the glacier before the other party finds its way. Fortunately, there is no snow here, otherwise I can't run. Ye Chen's speed was extremely fast, and within a few minutes, he hid with Lan Lengxiang. The two nervously hid behind the glacier to check the surrounding changes. Suddenly, Lan Lengxiang seemed to remember something and touched his pocket. No, I lost the secret key. Ye Chen was stunned on the spot. This thing is the key to being able to go home, but Ye Chen didn't complain, but silently climbed to a higher position on the glacier, checking the way the two of them came. Sure enough, the secret key was lying quietly somewhere. Although the key was found, Ye Chen couldn't be happy. Because those aboriginals are standing near the key. Ye Chen is in a bad mood now, and this is the first time he has encountered such a difficult situation. Wood style can't be used. It's like a broken pistol, full of bullets, but can't use it. Do you still remember the direction of the secret key? Let's go get the chance first. Ye Chen adjusted his mind and forced himself to calm down. If you can find soil in this icy world, you can start slaughtering the quartet. But Lan Lengxiang wanted to say something, but found that he couldn't do anything. Awakening the three realms, he couldn't even keep up with his physical strength, and Ye Chen had to take him with him even to move. Thinking of this, Lan Lengxiang's eyes turned red unconsciously. It turned out that he was the tow bottle. However, Ye Chen didn't notice Lan Lengxiang's emotions. Instead, he took out a lot of spiritual stones and food from the storage ring. Our top priority now is to replenish physical strength and spiritual power. If your spiritual power runs out, I'm afraid I will freeze to death here. Ye Chen didn't know that his words actually cheered Lan Lengxiang up. Yes, you can help Ye Chen keep warm, or Ye Chen will die. He nodded quickly and made a cute sound. Aha. Ye Chen is a little confused. Why did this girl suddenly become cute? What about the high cold goddess? Seeing Ye Chen staring at him, Lan Lengxiang's face suddenly turned red. What's up? I'm blushing. Impossible. I like him. No. Absolutely impossible. Ye Chen looked at Lan Lengxiang's changes with a strange look on his face. Isn't this girl sick? As he spoke, he touched Lan Lengxiang's forehead and then touched his own forehead. It's strange. In such a cold day, you can get a fever. Blue. Cold double. Chapter 38 Wood style adds fire. Big Buddha said Suzo. After the two rested for a while, they were ready to set off. First to obtain the opportunity of a secret realm. Ye Chen squatted down and looked back at Lan Lengxiang. Lan Lengxiang didn't understand what Ye Chen meant. Why? Come on, you're chirping. Ye Chen's whole body is not well. Wasn't this girl pretty smart before? Suddenly stupid. I'm not going to. You can't keep up with my speed again. Come up quickly. Ye Chen was a little angry. At this time, every second must be counted. I took a break earlier, and a lot of time has been wasted. If the natives were to get there first, seeing that Ye Chen was a little angry, Lan Lengxiang could only do as he did. Twisted. He would wrap his arms around Ye Chen's neck from behind. Ye Chen grabbed Lan Lengxiang's thighs with both hands. It's rubbish. Lan Lengxiang's whole face was red and hot. I have to say that it is much more convenient to run with Lan Lengxiang on my back than with her in my arms, and the body contact area is larger and the warmth is better. It's just that Ye Chen and Lan Lengxiang didn't find out. Just a few hundred meters behind them, there was a person. This person is Yan Feng, who disappeared before. He placed locators on Ye Chen and Lan Lengxiang, so as long as he keeps a good distance from Ye Chen, Lan Lengxiang, when the treasure is in his hand, he jumps out and kills Ye Chen. Isn't Lan Lengxiang at his own mercy? Ye Chen and Lan Lengxiang didn't know who was behind them. On the other side of the indigenous village. Chief, is this the opening of the secret realm? Yes, the mission of our family is to protect the treasures. From generations to generations, thousands of people have reached the current generation. We are the only small village left. The man known as the village chief, holding a small cane in his hand, said feebly, I don't know if we can keep the treasure. The village head sighed. Looking at the dozen or so clansmen remaining around him, he hesitated. Village chief, what are you afraid of? Isn't it just a few outsiders? Let Dao and me lead someone to kill them. A burly native said proudly. Judging from the breath emanating from his body, he also has the strength to awaken the 7 realms. Oh, that's the only way. The village chief closed his eyes and sighed. Ada, take Zioer and Asen to kill them. Yes. Ada was overjoyed immediately after receiving the order from the village chief. The village chief gave the secret key to Dan. Go to the direction pointed by this compass and wait for those people to come. Remember, it's important to save your life. Dan nodded indifferently, turned around and left with the other 2. To awaken 6 realms. One was 7 realms, and they all exist in this harsh environment. The physical body is also extremely powerful. After all, it is necessary to hunt and kill sea beasts. He even had to face the ice-burst bear, an upgraded version of the polar bear, the endless glacier. Ye Chen carried Lan Lengxiang towards the destination step by step. I don't know how long it has passed. After all, the mobile phone has been frozen and turned off. Finally, when Ye Chen was about to lose his strength, he saw a huge palace in the distance. Ye Chen knelt down, as if he had lost his strength, panting heavily, looking at the miraculous palace in the distance. Ye Chen, we found it. Lan Lengxiang got off Ye Chen's back, hugged Ye Chen, and said happily. Completely disregarding his arrogant image. What Lan Lengxiang didn't know was that Ye Chen's feet had almost lost the ability to move. Let's rest for a while, Ye Chen said with difficulty. Only then did Lan Lengxiang realize that something was wrong with Ye Chen. How are you? It's okay, it's just a little cold. My feet seem to be frozen. Although Lan Lengxiang gave Ye Chen her spiritual power, she was also an ice type after all. Keeping it at 0 degrees for a long time, if it wasn't for Ye Chen's strong body, it would have been unbearable. Lan Lengxiang finally reacted, and then remembered all this. He quickly took off his coat and wrapped it around Ye Chen. Ye Chen, how are you? Are you alright? Ye Chen's consciousness gradually blurred. Cold. Lan Lengxiang looked at Ye Chen's situation, gritted his teeth, and hugged Ye Chen directly. The originally cold world actually started to snow at this time. I don't know how long it took. Lan Lengxiang couldn't hold the chill anymore. The 2 fell asleep. Today's lucky draw has arrived, and you will get Zanpakat Raijinjaka. The system's voice sounded, but Ye Chen had already fainted. I saw the system say helplessly, it's really troublesome. Then the golden ball sank into Ye Chen's chest. At the same time, a heat flow came from Ye Chen's heart. A long knife appeared in Ye Chen's hands. A hot breath rushed out, wrapping Ye Chen and Lan Leng together. Oh, this system is not a nanny. The System muttered silently, and then disappeared. After a while, Ye Chen finally woke up from the coma, feeling the hot temperature emanating from his body. Ye Chen shook his drowsy head, and suddenly realized that there was a person lying on his chest. Ye Chen was stunned. Hey, eldest niece, Lan. Lengxiang slept soundly. In this icy world, sleeping with a heater in your arms would not be too beautiful. Ye Chen swallowed and patted Lan Lengxiang's cheek. Big niece, but Lan Lengxiang didn't do anything. In fact, she had been sending spiritual power to Ye Chen. Although she did not transmit much spiritual power, after all, she only had 3 realms, her spiritual power had bottomed out, and she was tired. Ye Chen stood up helplessly, took out a spare set of clothes from the storage ring, and tore the clothes into strips of cloth. Put Lan Lengxiang on his back, and tied with cloth strips. Ye Chen looked at the changes in his body and the long knife he had previously held in his hand. Raijin. Jacka. Ye Chen muttered to himself. With a wry smile. This system is really good for me. I can get this stuff. You said, can you keep warm? Ye Chen didn't respond, and the system didn't say anything. Ye Chen, who was looking at the huge palace in front of him, suddenly spoke up. Thanks, system. Although he looked at the palace, he thanked the system. This wave of operations shocked the system that had been peeping. You're welcome. The system responded. As the strongest Zanpakuto of the fire type, you can feel the heat, even when you hold it in your hand. Is this going to make my tree world descend and add another hand to the hot hell? Ye Chen has begun to feel that the direction of things is getting more and more strange. Not to mention Hashirama's wood style, he can already give himself a place in the world. Now add this long knife. This is the existence of ceiling level combat power in the 2 worlds. Wood plus fire. Is there a problem? The system said leisurely. Then I also complained in my heart. If you hadn't come to this broken place. I would like to see the big Buddha Teosusa first. Chapter 39. The system was fooled into crying by Ye Chen. Just like that, a peculiar person carrying a sleeping stupid woman entered a palace. But Ye Chen's worries also appeared. The group of natives had been waiting here for a long time. Now that Ye Chen just appeared, I can't blame them. Ye Chen looked around. From the moment he entered the palace, Ye Chen noticed something was wrong. But he is looking for a place with soil. Wood style is more practical. What's more, Ye Chen is still carrying a blue and cold pear on his back. Using a knife is really inconvenient, and I have never learned a knife myself. Not to mention Bankei, Shike will not. Ye Chen carefully observed the surrounding environment. After the huge palace came in, Ye Chen couldn't help rolling his eyes. The ice palace, which is hundreds of meters high, looks like a basketball court. After entering, it's just that there is a huge spiritual stone floating in the center of the palace. Ye Chen could see at a glance that this spirit stone was of ice type, although it was not as big as the spirit stone of the West Wind Lion King. But it seems more pure. Ye Chen was shocked to see that the Lang family is prosperous. At this moment, several cheers came from above the sky. Ye Chen suddenly looked up. Caught you. A strong man in a white bearskin jumped down. A mace slammed down on Ye Chen's head instantly. Ye Chen was about to dodge subconsciously, but Lan Lengxiang was still behind him. He frowned slightly and raised Raijin Jacka to take the blow. A huge vibration came from under Ye Chen's feet. The incomparably strong glacier shattered several cracks in an instant. Is that enough strength? Ye Chen narrowed his eyes slightly and grinned. But the next second, Ye Chen couldn't smile anymore. I saw 2 natives emerging from behind the big man, and 2 axes greeted Ye Chen's Shinling Gay. And Ye Chen is now firmly held up by this strong man's attack, and has no ability to resist. You're stupid. Why do you ask me to teach you every time? Will the things in this system be garbage? Can you just shike? Please don't be so stupid, okay? I'm going to change the protagonist. Don't force it. What about shike language? Ye Chen roared, directly awakening the 3 natives in front of him, and Lan Lengxiang behind him. Don't give him a chance. Cut off his head. Ada's heart flashed with unease, and he hurriedly shouted, there are all kinds of things. Or ashes. Raijin Jacka. The system's voice sounded from Ye Chen's mind. Dad, Lan Lengxiang just opened his eyes, and before he recovered, He saw the two axes in front of him slashing towards Ye Chen and himself. Instantly people were frightened. Ye Chen was very anxious at the moment, muttering in his mouth, "Everything is in the air, all our ashes." Ye Chen, stop shouting. I'm going to die. Lan Lengshan was about to go crazy. Raijin, Jacka. The moment Ye Chen finished shouting, a sense of heat rushed to his face. The frosty aura around him disappeared instantly. Above Raijin Jacka, there is a layer of flame. What is this? Arda saw a burst of flames coming, and his whole body felt bad in an instant. Ye Chen took advantage of the moment when the other party was absent-minded. At this critical moment, burning the city on fire, it was too late to use other moves. Die. At that moment, the two aboriginal axes were infinitely close to Ye Chen's head. At this moment, Raijin Jacka instantly burst into a hot air current. The hot air instantly surrounded the native named Ada. The moment the other two came into contact with the flames, they turned into two charred corpses. The second, the third, Ada roared angrily, but did not dare to touch the flame. What did you do to them? Ye Chen gasped heavily and looked at Dao in front of him with a relaxed expression. At this moment, Lan Lengshan already had stars shining in his eyes. Ye Chen, so handsome. Of course Ye Chen heard this sentence and was immediately speechless. Do you speak Daksha? The native did not speak and sat down directly across the flames. With your ability to awaken the 6 realms, the flames won't last long and I can still kill you. Ada's face was fierce, and he looked at Ye Chen, as if he were looking at a dead man. Ye Chen's face changed slightly. He was right, he couldn't hold on for long. Ye Chen wasn't sure if his immortal energy could motivate Liu Renruo. If not, when the time comes, you can only play against the person in front of you physically. Thinking of this, Ye Chen no longer big niece, you go up and take that ice spirit stone away. That should be our biggest gain this time. Ye Chen untied the cloth strip on his body and put Lan Lengshan down. Lan Lengshan nodded vigorously and ran towards the ice spirit stone. At this moment, the long disappeared Yanfeng appeared. Yo, such a big ice spirit stone. It seems to be worth tens of billions. The greed in Yanfeng's eyes was not concealed at all. Yanfeng, you still dare to come? Ye Chen looked back at Yanfeng and nodded at Lan Lengshan. Lan Lengshan did not speak and continued to run towards the ice spirit stone. There is not much spiritual power left in Ye Chen's body, but he still has immortal skills, so it's a big deal. Although burning the castle is a Shike skill, it has a 6000 degree high temperature flame, which burns the spiritual power too fast. Seeing Lan Lengshan running towards the Binglingshi, Yanfeng didn't care at all. After all, after Ye Chen died, everything and Lan Lengshan were definitely his own. However, seeing Ye Chen's embarrassed appearance, Yanfeng suddenly felt a chiraku in his heart. I have to thank you for helping me kill these aborigines. However, you still have such a powerful flame power, which really surprises this young master. Ye Chen's face was very gloomy. Ada, who was behind Ye Chen, was silent, thinking in his heart that when the flames disappeared, it would be the death of these 3 people. Ye Chen, how about you give this young master a knock, and I will spare your life. Haha, Yanfeng, if you give me a knock now, I'll let you live. How about it? Ye Chen didn't show weakness and turned back. It seems that you have already made a choice. Yanfeng looked at Ye Chen playfully. He took out a finger tiger from the storage ring and put it on his right hand. Ye Chen stared at the pointing tiger, a little unsure in his heart. This should be the so-called weapon that can increase spiritual power. This is the first time I've used it. Ye Chen, you should be content. You will die under the hands of this young master. Yan Feng grinned. Ye Chen took a deep breath, put Raijin Jacka in the scabbard, and hung it around his waist. Give up. Seeing Ye Chen's appearance, Yanfeng thought that Ye Chen had given up his resistance. Ye Chen straightened his waist and put his hands together. No solution anymore. Lan Lengshan looked back and thought that Ye Chen really gave up. Ye Chen. Chapter 40. The protagonist is drowning. The end of the play. 4. Ye Chen roared without turning his head. Go get the spirit stone. Leave the rest to me. You mean you can beat me? Yanfeng laughed. At the same time, Ada also stood up, and the flames surrounding him gradually disappeared. Boy, it looks like your death is coming. Although our dad didn't understand why Ye Chen wanted to remove the flame point, but he knew that when the flame was gone, Ye Chen would die. Our dad jumped out of the pit. The previous flame melted a hole where our dad was, and the ice cubes turned into water vapor and flew into the sky point. Our dad hid in the middle, and he could be considered to have escaped the catastrophe. Die, Ye Chen. Die. Ah. Da raised his mace, and Yan Feng also greeted Ye Chen with a flaming fist. Ye Chen suddenly opened his eyes. The facial lines on the face instantly appeared. Boom. Ye Chen blocked the mace with his right hand and caught Yan Feng's flame fist with his left. Next, let's have a fist to meat fight. The bright red lines on Ye Chen's face were clearly visible. The facial lines are all bright red. Why did the fourth battle look like black in the later period? It is a matter of style of painting. If you don't believe me, check the color of Hashirama's facial lines. Yan Feng and Ada were instantly shocked by this scene. Ye Chen pulled both hands, and the two were instantly pulled and smashed together by this powerful force point. Both of them are stupid. This guy is so fierce all of a sudden. Ye Chen opened the distance in an instant, and after Yan Feng glanced at the native beside him, he also opened his position instantly. The three are enemies of each other, and only one can survive. But at present, Ye Chen's strength is somewhat uncontrollable, and Yan Feng and Ada are also very clear that Ye Chen must be killed first. This time, the initiative is in Ye Chen's hands. I saw Ye Chen running his spiritual power. He jumped up and punched Yan Feng with a punch. The two people in front of them, from the point of view of strength, must be Yan Feng's strength is weaker, of course. Persimmons have to be soft and pinch. Yan Feng was also very upset when he saw that Ye Chen was planning to start with himself first. In his opinion, Ye Chen chose to kill himself first, not because he hated him, but because Ye Chen felt that he was weak. Thinking of this, Yan Feng used his innate skill again. Flaming Fist. This time, all the strength of his 6 realms broke out. Ye Chen didn't have the slightest timidity and punched him down. Boom. A flame erupted. Yan Feng's arm was instantly shattered by this force point when the two fists met. Yan Feng, who was not physically capable, lost an arm in an instant. The bones were all broken, and most of the fighting power was lost. That's all, young master. Ye Chen stood in front of Yan Feng with a playful expression on his face. When Ada saw Ye Chen defenseless, he also smashed down with his mace. Ye Chen raised his hand to withstand the attack without turning his head, and the spikes on the mace directly penetrated Ye Chen's arm. Ye Chen frowned. He was just physically strong and had a strong recovery ability. It wasn't that he didn't hurt. It hasn't come to you yet. Ye Chen grabbed the mace with the other hand, and after the right hand was released from the mace, he punched the opponent's abdomen with a punch. Ada was hit in the abdomen by this blow, and the bitter water was spit out, and he instantly lost his ability to fight. Then a compass fell from his arms, which was what had been lost earlier. Ye Chen picked it up, thinking that he might still need this thing when he wanted to go back. So, you are so weak. Ye Chen shook his head helplessly. Just then, the accident happened again. The entire palace began to vibrate, and countless ice cubes shattered. Ye Chen, I got the spirit stone. I saw Lan Lengxiang running towards Ye Chen all the way. Ye Chen glanced at Lan Lengxiang and nodded. You go to the portal and wait for me. I will kill Yan Feng before leaving. Lan Lengxiang was stunned for a moment, then pulled Ye Chen. No, let's go together. Ye Chen pushed Lan Lengxiang's arm away. Don't worry, it will be soon. Seeing Ye Chen so determined, Lan Lengxiang glanced at Ye Chen and ran directly outside the palace. At the moment when the ice spirit stone was lost, the entire palace seemed to have lost its support and was crumbling. Ye Chen, let's get out of here first. Yan Feng started to get scared. Leave here first. I promise not to trouble you again. Yan Feng knelt on the ground, clutching his arms and begging Ye Chen for mercy. Oh, but I just want you to die. Ye Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. Ye Chen, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I shouldn't have done anything to you. You let me go. I can give you money, a lot of money. You can't spend your whole life. Ye Chen approached Yan Feng step by step, and Yan Feng's ugly face could be seen at a glance. Ye Chen held Raijin Jaka with his right hand, and his eyes shot up with murderous intent. Torch. Ye Chen pulled out his sword, and a pillar of fire engulfed Yan Feng in an instant. Draw the knife and close the knife in one go. The grudge is over. See you in the next life. There was no trace of pity in Ye Chen's eyes. Then he turned to look at Ada, who was kneeling on the ground. I won't kill you, so I can do it myself. After he finished speaking, he ran in the direction of Lan Lengshan. Halfway through the run, Ye Chen remembered one thing. Yan Feng didn't take the storage ring. He lost a lot of money, but Ye Chen didn't think too much about it, and the top priority now is to escape first point, because after the ice palace collapsed, it seemed that the whole world was collapsing. Running in the glacier, fragmented scenes are everywhere. Even the ice beneath his feet was in jeopardy. Big knees. Ye Chen's speed was several times faster than Lan Lengshan, and he caught up after a while. Lan Lengshan was ecstatic when she saw Ye Chen. Ye Chen came to Lan Lengshan and directly picked it up. Just as Lan Lengshan was about to say something, Ye Chen was faster. It's too late. This place is going to collapse. Lan Lengshan immediately closed his mouth. As the cracks in the ice get bigger and bigger, Ye Chen is a little anxious. What should I do? There is still a long way to go. Life and death speed. But a bigger crisis is yet to come. The ice layer tens of meters deep shattered, and the sea beasts active under the ice layer rioted instantly. Under the dark ice, countless sea beasts are eager to emerge from the water, to see a glimpse of the sun. What appeared behind Ye Chen was a giant whale, a blue whale alien beast with a length of several hundred meters. Seeing this, Ye Chen ran away, speeding up again. Lan Lengshan, who was carried by Ye Chen, couldn't say anything. At this moment, Ye Chen slipped and fell into the water. His little hands loosened, and Lan Leng let out both hands. That cold biting feeling stimulated Ye Chen's nerves. Lan Lengshan, who had been frightened, was pulled back to reality by the icy sea water. The two of them, who were too late to prepare themselves psychologically, were instantly filled with seawater into their noses. At the same time, the huge waves crashed, and Ye Chen couldn't find a place to emerge. Although the ice surface is cracked, there are floating ice everywhere on the top of the head, and there is absolutely no place to probe. Chapter 41 The One Appearance of the Buddha. Frightened Lan Lengshan. 5. Is this the end of? Ye Chen looked at the ice layer above in despair, and stretched out his arms weakly. Lan Lengshan was also not far from Ye Chen, and was already unconscious as time passed by. The two people who were deprived of oxygen had reached their limit. At this moment, Ye Chen's back touched the bottom of the sea. Ye Chen, who had already given up, opened his eyes instantly. Under the huge pressure of the sea, hands clasped together, a seed fell into the depths of the sea. A statue of Buddha emerged from the ground. Countless seawater dripped from the body of the Buddha statue. The true several thousand hands who broke through the ice were like gods descending to earth, half in the sea and half above the sea. Not to mention thousands of arms. If true several thousand hands is 500 meters high, then the arms are at least 1000 meters high. Ye Chen grabbed Lan Lengshan's arm with one hand and tightly grasped the ear of the Buddha statue. Put Lan Lengshan on top of true several thousand hands and perform CPR immediately. Seeing that cardiopulmonary resuscitation doesn't work, just put your mouth on it and give artificial respiration. Cough, cough, cough. As Lan Lengshan spit out all the seawater in his chest, he finally woke up. The first moment I woke up was to touch my lips. The rescue method of drowning. Lan Lengshan is not stupid. It's cardiopulmonary resuscitation again. It's artificial respiration. Who can stand it? But Ye Chen didn't notice this at the moment, and immediately gave Lan Lengshan some spiritual energy in his body. Fortunately, you're not dead. If you die, your father must not fight for me. Ye Chen knelt down in front of Lan Lengshan, panting. Then he leaned back and turned his feet to the sky, forming a large character. I thought I was going to die, Lan Leng said, for the rest of his life after the double calamity, and lay on the top of wooden golem like Ye Chen. What is this? As soon as Lan Lengshan lay down, his eyes instantly caught the thousands of wooden arms. Ye Chen was frightened by Lan Lengshan's sudden scream. What happened? Lan Lengshan pointed towards his arm. Look at that. Ye Chen looked at the direction where Lan Leng's two fingers were going, and the whole person was speechless. Why don't you take a look at where we are sitting now? Hearing What Ye Chen said. Lan Lengshan reacted. Yes, I have been in the water before. How come there is such a large land? Just as Lan Lengshan stuck his head out and looked down, his entire head was blank. His face was extremely pale. Ye Chen, what is this? Ye Chen didn't explain and sat cross-legged on wooden golem's head with his hands folded. Control the big Buddha to move towards the location of the portal point. When the huge true several thousand hands moved, even the 100-meter long giant whale was scared away. On the system interface, countless points were beating, and every fish, shrimp, and crab was directly killed by true several thousand hands. Lan Lengshan was speechless, staring at Ye Chen. So, this is your true strength, isn't it? Ye Chen shrugged. Since you found out, what can I do? Lan Lengshan stepped forward and gave Ye Chen a kick. You bastard, with such a strong strength, you always scare me. Hey, my eldest niece, you've wronged me too much. This piece of land is full of glaciers, with no land or soil. How can I use my wood talent? Ye Chen rolled his eyes. Lan Lengshan seemed to understand. Is that so? I'm blaming you. I'm sorry. Ye Chen didn't care that Lan Leng kicked himself, but suddenly remembered something. He said to Lan Lengshan, by the way, you can't tell others about my true strength. Why? Lan Lengshan asked curiously. Ye Chen doesn't know how to answer, so he can't say, I want to scare Lao Zhang to death or something. But after Lan Lengshan made up his mind, he said, I see. You want to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. Okay, I'll keep it a secret for you. Ye Chen smiled helplessly and nodded, as long as it was covered up anyway. After a while, the secret key in Ye Chen's pocket emitted a nice blue light. Ye Chen was suddenly overjoyed. I found the exit. Ye Chen injected spiritual power into the secret key, and the lost portal reappeared. Ye Chen controlled an arm of true several thousand hands, and sent the two to the portal point. This trip to the secret realm is really indescribable. Ye Chen looked back at the endless glacier and the big Buddha that he used for the first time. Hey, next time you kill me, I won't come to such a place where birds don't shit. PFFT. You're right, I'm not coming either. The two looked at each other and walked out of the portal point at the same time. Ye Chen's magic was lifted. True several thousand hands lost the energy of Ye Chen's magic and disappeared into the sea. Ye Chen, who had just come out of the secret realm, had black eyes and fell directly. Lan Lengshan was shocked and hugged Ye Chen directly, letting Ye Chen lie on top of him. Slowly squat down and put Ye Chen's head on his feet. The next second, the West Wind Lion King appeared beside Ye Chen. Huh? What's wrong with you, Xiaozi? Lan Lengshan shook his head with a smile. It's okay, maybe I'm a little tired. This kid won't use that thing again, will he? The West Wind Lion King asked with a strange face. Xiaozi, you know? Lan Lengshan asked curiously with wide eyes. I saw the West Wind Lion King looked around and said something mysterious. Before, this kid stood on wooden golem and chased Dong Shizhang for a long time. Lan Leng opened his mouth wide, but then he regained his composure. Also, the 1,000-meter high giant Buddha has to run in the starry realm. What? Kilometer tall Buddha? Isn't it 100 meters? The West Wind Lion King was instantly dumbfounded. The wooden golem you mentioned should be the one sitting cross-legged on top of the Buddha's head. It's not even 1/10 as tall as the Buddha. Lan Lengshan responded proudly, as if he had seen something that the Lion King had not seen. It was amazing. The West Wind Lion King wanted to know something, but Zhang Daosheng and Lan Batian had already arrived. Ye Chen, is this? Zhang Daosheng was shocked when he saw Ye Chen was unconscious. Lan Batian's eyes were full of anger. Good boy Ye, how dare you put your pillow on my precious daughter's lap? Saying that, he stepped forward and slapped Ye Chen's face, trying to wake Ye Chen up. Dad, I'm going to be angry. As soon as these words came out, Lan Batian instantly softened. I was wrong. Baby, don't be angry, I won't hit him. People. Petrochemical. Even the West Wind Lion King couldn't bear to look directly at him. This person, abandoned. The daughter slave didn't run away. Dad, prepare a room for Ye Chen and let him have a good rest. Without him this time, I don't know how many times I've died. Lang Lang looked at Ye Chen tenderly. Lan Batian's whole body is not well. It seems that something has been taken away. With a sad face, he went to prepare a room for Ye Chen and muttered, "Ye Chen, you son of a bitch, I asked you to protect my daughter, but I didn't let you soak my daughter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels." Chapter 40 To the Little Padded Jacket That Leaks. Ye Chen has been sleeping most of the time since he came to this world. Well, words can't say that. Too tired after all. It's from Wooden Golem again. This time it's even more exaggerated, using true several thousand hands directly. Although the purpose of using true several thousand hands is just to have a place to stay, the energy of immortality consumed is huge. Take half of the advanced sage body directly, let alone fight the remaining half. I'm afraid it will be difficult to maintain movement. At that time, Ye Chen was sighing how powerful Senju Hashirama was. How powerful is his own chakra to use such a big guy to fight with all his strength. Controlling one arm to send 2 people to the portal would consume a lot, let alone thousands of arms. Ye Chen slowly opened his eyes, and the room that came into his eyes was very unfamiliar. The light blue decoration makes people look very comfortable. An alarm clock hung on the wall shows the time 11:28. Ye Chen pressed his head, not knowing how long he had slept. Glancing at the clothes on the side, he walked into the bathroom unceremoniously and took a hot bath beautifully. Put on the clothes Lan Batian prepared for Ye Chen. Then again, Ye Chen always likes to wear black, but Lan Lengshan likes light blue. Lan Batian is another daughter slave. Most things in the Lan family are light blue. The clothes for Ye Chen are naturally the same. Ye Chen, who was wearing clothes, seemed to be a different person, and his suppressed temperament was suddenly brought out by the new clothes. Going to the door, Raijin Jaka also leaned against the door. Ye Chen sighed. It seems that I have to practice knives next. The days of leisure are getting fewer and fewer. Hang Raijin Jaka around your waist and walk out the door, Mr. Yi. The owner ordered you to wait in the hall for a while after you wake up. A maid immediately said to Ye Chen when she saw Ye Chen going out. Ye Chen nodded. Got it. As soon as the West Wind Lion King heard that Ye Chen was awake, he immediately came to Ye Chen. It's funny, since this guy came to the Lan family, he basically eats plus sleeps every day. Of course, for him, sleeping is the same as cultivating. Yo, boy, yo, Xiaoxi. Ye Chen came to the reception hall, where the West Wind Lion King had been waiting for a long time. The Lion King of the West Wind glanced at the maid who was leading Ye Chen's way. The maid immediately understood and hurriedly retreated. I hurt. The West Wind Lion King narrowed his eyes slightly. You still have stronger moves. Ye Chen was stunned. Are you so well informed? No, my eldest niece told you. Ye Chen responded. Haha, I saw you fainted that day, so I asked if you had used that guy again. As a result, the girl would have misunderstood and thought I was talking about Wooden Golem, so she told me all, the Lion King said, and raised his eyebrows triumphantly. Ye Chen was speechless, but he didn't care. He waved his hand and said, what's the matter? You'll know it when you know it, and it's fine if others don't know it. The West Wind Lion King said with a hippie smile. What? When will the Great Buddha be used? And let me see, let's forget this. I'll talk about it when I have a chance. Ye Chen thought about the nearly 1,000 meter high Buddha, and with his arms, it was nearly 2,000 meters high. The tallest buildings in Zhanghai City are not so tall. For another 3 or 2 kilometers, it can be compared with the world's highest peak. The West Wind Lion King wanted to say something when Lan Batian's voice came from upstairs. Good boy, you're dead. Lan Batian jumped down from the upstairs, grabbing Ye Chen's collar. Ye Chen looked confused. What's the situation? He looked innocently at Lan Batian, and then at Zifan Lion King. The West Wind Lion King silently turned his head, pretending not to see it. Damn, I asked you to protect my daughter, but you dare to soak my daughter? Lan Batian roared. There was a colic in my heart. How beautiful and moving my daughter used to be. He is cold and cold to everyone. A living high cold fan. Now, when I hear Ye Chen's name, I feel like an info girl. Thinking of this, Lan Batian became very angry. Can you blame me too? Ye Chen was full of question marks. I listened to you, and the safety of the eldest niece is given priority. Why is it my fault again? I don't care. You return my baby girl, Lan. Batian didn't want his old face anymore. He held onto Ye Chen's collar tightly, but didn't let go. Dad, what are you doing? Lan Lengshang's cold voice entered Lan Batian's ears. Lan Batian was so frightened that he loosened his hands and reacted instantly. He took care of Ye Chen's collar. Oh, boy, why is the collar crooked? I'll take care of it for you. Ye Chen's head was full of black lines, and he was speechless as he watched this Lan Batian whose face changing speed reached the ultimate point after Lan Lengshang went downstairs. He immediately embraced Ye Chen's arm. Ye Chen, how are you sleeping? How is your body recovering? Are you hungry? Lan Lengshang said with a smile, her eyes narrowing. Ye Chen was stunned. He knew why Lan Batian reacted so much, because this big niece has changed too much. Right before entering the secret realm, he was still taciturn, and even said that he was a drag bottle. It's better now, I've become a little fangirl directly. Ye Chen glanced at Lan Lengshang, and then looked apologetically at Lan Batian with a gloomy face, embarrassedly scratching the back of his head. Sleep. Okay, a little hungry. When Lan Lengshang heard the words, he immediately said softly, then I will ask someone to prepare food for you. Ye Chen nodded slightly. The next second, Lan Lengshang looked at Lan Batian. Dad, why don't you go quickly? Ye Chen. Lan Batian. Westwind Lion King, PFFT. Ye Chen's face is full of innocence. No one would have imagined this. After lunch, Ye Chen said goodbye to Lan Batian and Ziffing Lion King. Lan Lengshang on the side is a little reluctant. Ye Chen escaped from the Lan family, as if running for his life. Who can stand this? I didn't expect Ye Chen to have a little fangirl. Ye Chen sighed deeply. He is going to school now, looking for Zhang Daosheng. Gotta find out if there is such a thing as knives after all. He is someone who has knives, so he can't even understand the most basic knife skills. Right, when someone fights and rushes up with a knife, I have to save some face for others and make a symbolic move. Right, otherwise, I will directly kill Songming to kill the other party, or start with hot hell. Directly kill all the people who practiced and watched the battle in the college entrance examination. Ye Chen suddenly wanted to cry. Why are both wood style and Raijin Jack arranged? I also want to improve the single combat ability well, but these two things do not meet this point. Each skill is a large scale AoE, a certain system silently forced again. Laozi wants to see the Sasado Buddha. Chapter 43. Ye Chen enters the Seven Realm. The Yan family comes, and the Lion King is distressed. Ye Chen didn't know that everything was arranged by the system. If it wasn't for this mistake, let the system give it to Raijin Jack a first. Otherwise, a certain system has been wanting to see the dark blue Buddha for a long time. Recently, Ye Chen said that he was very tired. Suddenly, I felt that the boring practice is not bad. I stayed in the school's villa for more than half a month. It was not until Ye Chen stepped into the Seven Realms that Zhang Daosheng saw Ye Chen's figure. This morning, Ye Chen came to Lao Zhang's office early to wait. When Zhang Daosheng saw Ye Chen, his expression that could not see happiness or sadness instantly showed a smile. Boy, Ye, have you broken through? Zhang Daosheng likes Ye Chen more and more. After all, this guy is just like dying when he cultivates, except for 3 meals. The rest of the time is cultivating. Hey, it's been half a month, and I'm only in the 7th realm. I can't do anything. I can only work hard to get it together. Ye Chen grabbed the bread in Zhang Daosheng's hand and nodded. Zhang Daosheng was already used to Ye Chen's easygoing action. After all, every time this guy came, he had to take away a lot of things. I've run out of spirit stones, Ye Chen said hesitantly, nibbling at the bread. As a result, I was choked on talking while eating bread. Zhang Daosheng reluctantly handed the milk in his hand to Ye Chen. Have you run out in half a month? Zhang Daosheng was a little surprised, but he gave a full 10,000 pieces before. Ye Chen took a sip of milk and breathed a sigh of relief. Yeah, but I'm not here to ask you for spirit stones this time. I want to find a knife technique, preferably with some basic moves. Ye Chen turned to his side as he spoke and showed Zhang Daosheng the long knife hanging from his waist. It's This the weapon that was obtained in the secret realm before. Zhang Daosheng remembered that Ye Chen had been hanging this long sword on his waist since he returned from the secret realm. Ye Chen didn't deny it and directly stated that it came from the secret realm and there was nowhere to explain the origin of this long knife. TSK. An ice and snow secret realm actually obtained a long sword of the flame element. I'm afraid this ice spirit stone is not used to suppress this long sword. Zhang Daosheng narrowed his eyes and carefully looked at Ye Chen's waist long knife. Old. Zhang, he has a name. Raijin Jaka. Ye Chen swallowed the last bite of bread and explained. When Ye Chen finished speaking his name, the long knife also seemed to vibrate. Zhang Daosheng also discovered this and secretly wondered, is it Raijin Jaka? Good name. Alright, you are an auxiliary type, and now you have the blessing of a flame type weapon, and you will be able to protect yourself in the future. Zhang Daosheng was also very happy that Ye Chen got this long knife. However, at this time, no one knew that it was in a secret realm of ice and snow. Under the altar where the ice spirit stone was placed, a staff was lying and sinking to the bottom of the sea alone. Bingling, I'm the motherfucking treasure of this secret realm. That spirit stone is just for me. In this way, by mistake, everyone also believed that the treasure in the secret realm was the ice spirit stone and the long knife obtained by Ye Chen. Even Lan Lengshan felt the same way. After all, she fainted at the time. By the way, someone came from the Yan family in Jingjing a few days ago. Zhang Daosheng's face suddenly changed. Yanfeng disappeared in Zhanghe City for nearly 10 days, and it was on the day that Yanfeng died in the secret realm. All the servants under Yanfeng's hands were also beheaded by the Lan family and disposed of. Therefore, the Yan family only knew that Yanfeng had come to Zhanghe City and entered the Lan family. Fortunately, the Lan family had the Lion King of the Bright Moon realm in charge. Otherwise the Lan family would have been expelled from Zhanghe City. Who's in the Yan family? Ye Chen's face became a little heavy. This was no joke. The strength of the Yan family, Zhang Daosheng and Lan Batian had explained to him in detail before. Although he is a second young master who is not very talented, he is a member of the Yan family after all. 2 elders from the starry realm. Zhang Daosheng said, sweating in his hands. The three of them that Deng Shizhang had beaten before were a little embarrassed, and now there are 2 star elms. If it weren't for the Lion King, just can't imagine the consequences. At the same time, everyone from the Yan family had been investigating Zhanghe City for several days, but everyone they met said they had never seen the so-called Yanfeng. In other words, after Yanfeng entered the Lan family that day, he never came out again. 7th brother, this matter no longer needs to be investigated, right? An old man asked with a frown. The man who was called the 7th brother nodded. It can basically be concluded that the second young master died in the Lan family. These 2 are the 7th and 8th elders of the Yan family, and their realms are in the starry realm, so their strength should not be underestimated. But what can you do? The Lan family has that Bright Moon Lion King sitting in charge. Yan Zhenbei was very troubled now. After all, when he came, he asked the owner of the house for instructions, and he and Yan Zhenbei would definitely find the traces of the second young master. Hearing Yan Zhenbei's words, Yan Zhenbei's brows did not loosen. It really doesn't work. I can only report it to the patriarch and send Hao Jing over here. Yan Zhenbei nodded. That's all. After all, if the Lion King was there, whenever the key was to be asked, the Lion King would appear from time to startle them both. The wind and rain are about to come to Zhanghe City. The simple life that Ye Chen wanted was probably hopeless. The Yan family's visit this time was too sudden, and Yan Feng's death couldn't be better. The West Wind Lion King also frowned and looked towards the Lianhe Mountains. The time is getting closer. I hope it won't affect Zhanghe City. Originally, the West Wind Lion King, who had not planned to protect Zhanghe City, was relatively indifferent, but now it is different. The accident in the Lianhe Mountains will definitely affect the safety of Zhanghe City. When the thing wakes up, even the sea beasts will gather in the Lianhe Mountains. That human race said back then that they would come here to take that thing's life after 100 years looking At the current situation in Zhanghai City, the Yan family is threatening, and I'm afraid that it will not be able to solve it in a short time. Point in that case, one wave after another, can Zhanghai City really endure it? The Yan family itself is not a good stubble, and its strength is not bad. Hey, Ye Chen, hurry up and grow up. I hope that, when the time comes, your great Buddha can protect Zhanghai City. Ye Chen, who was walking on the campus, sneezed suddenly. Which beauty is thinking of me? Isn't it the girl An Lengxiang? When Ye Chen finished saying this, he sneezed again, and shook his head instantly. No. If there are two sneezes, it must be Xiaoxi. However, on the front line of a certain battlefield, two women looked at Ye Chen in the mirror, and was speechless for a while. King, isn't this Ye Chen too interesting? Lin Jing laughed heartily. Zhang Bingking also smiled. Very interesting little brother. Chapter 44. The Lan family is temporarily dismissed. After this period of precipitation, Zhanghai City has returned to the right track. Once again, people work at sunrise and rest at sunset. However, the arrival of the Yan family and the impending crisis in the mouth of the West Wind Lion King. The West Wind Lion King lay on the ground in the palace, on a huge wind spirit stone, and continued to sleep. On the defense team's side, Yang Sanjin was looking for Ye Chen more than 10 days ago. But after receiving a response from above, Ye Chen's information was kept secret. This is of course Basin's handwriting. As Ye Chen Sr., he is sitting in Zhanghai City, and naturally he has to do something for Ye Chen. On the other side, the city owner has fallen into contemplation, and is thankful that nothing else happened. Otherwise, I'm afraid that the position of the city lord will not be long. The Yan family also passed the news of Yan Feng back, the Lion King of the Bright Moon Realm. Yan Zanshan narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw the news from Yan Zhanbei. Third brother, go for a walk. Yan Zanshan smiled and looked at the figure behind him. Yan Zhanran did not shirk, and stepped forward. Yes, Yan Zan's personality is relatively indifferent, or it should be said that this guy is relatively withdrawn. The words are also relatively easy to understand. More word saving. Yan Zhanbei received a notice from Yan Zanshan. Looking at Yan Zhanbei with a pale face, the person who came is the third brother, Yan Zhan. He also broke out in a cold sweat. This Yan Zhan person is a bloodthirsty demon. Every time he made a move, blood flowed into a river. If you don't have enough fun, you will even kill your own people. What's even scarier is that Yan Zanshan likes his younger brother very much, because Yan Zhan people are obedient and quick to do things. Therefore, regarding the matter of Yan Zhan people killing their own people, they have always turned a blind eye. As mentioned earlier, Ye Chen took a walk in the school. There have been rumors before that Ye Chen has a problem with his style and is arrogant and domineering. But now, after the roar of the previous Lion King and the matter of Deng Shizhang, just go straight to black. Okay, suddenly Ye Chen became a celebrity on campus. There are even little girls who send love letters, but Ye Chen has no plans to fall in love yet. Of course it was rejected one by one. Today's lottery is here. Basic sword skills +1. Ye Chen is stunned. My dear, you are finally here. Ye Chen, who had a weird face, was very helpless. This system definitely has an inside story. Every time a good thing is given, it will give a bunch of useless things. Next time, say directly, you got the reward today. Don't mention the lottery, okay? I've drawn it a few times at the beginning, and every time after that. Isn't it directly handed out by you? Ye Chen said resentfully. Oh, then I'll just stop reminding me. Throw it in front of you. You can see for yourself. The system said leisurely. Ye Chen directly ignored the system's words, holding the blue ball in his hand. A shock instantly surged into his heart. Some of the basic techniques of swordsmanship have been familiar to me. TSK, is this basic swordsmanship? I'm just talking about basic swordsmanship, and I didn't say whose basic swordsmanship was. Ye Chen is speechless. Okay, you are awesome. Of course I'm awesome. You don't need to brag about it. Ye Chen felt the technique of swordsmanship. If it is like wood style, it will be equipped with a set of sage body points. So this sword technique, I'm afraid it's not from Yamamoto Uenaya's. Hey, right, that makes sense. After all, As a user of Raijinjaka, his sword skills are definitely the most suitable for Raijinjaka. Zhang Dao Sheng mentioned to Bazin. By the way, because Ye Chen was looking for a sword technique. Bazin immediately sent some of the sword skills that the general possessed to Ye Chen's house. This made Ye Chen a little flattered and felt warm in his heart. So he accepted it immediately. But he didn't plan to learn it. After all, if the system planned to let him learn all the sword skills of this old guy, then there would be no need for other sword skills at all. Thinking of this, Ye Chen continued to rot. What tricks do you practice? What knife do you practice? Concentrate on studying breathing. Focus on your practice. That night, Yanzhen people had already entered Zhanghe City. Yanzhen Run, who resisted the killing intent, found Yanzhen Bei and others. Third brother, you are here. Yanzhen Bei greeted Yanzhen respectfully. After all, this guy is too evil. Among the 8 elders, the Yanzhen people are the most vicious. Yanzhen Ren didn't speak, just glanced at Yanzhen Bei. Yanzhen Bei understood in an instant. Third brother, the information I have now is relatively limited. I only know that the second young master disappeared in the Lan family. I have learned from the family before, and it seems that the number of times the second young master bought a secret realm, so I think maybe he entered the secret realm with the Lan family. Yan Zhanhui didn't dare to say anything on the side, but Yanzhen's people didn't care, just saw Yanzhen Bei pause. With a fierce look on his face. Tell me, I also wanted to investigate this matter, but the Lan family didn't know how to do it, and got a bright moon realm alien beast to sit in. When Yanzhen Ren heard the words, he smiled unabashedly. A strange beast in the bright moon realm. Interesting. I will meet him tomorrow. The Westwind Lion King, who was in Lan's house, suddenly woke up, stood up and glanced in the direction of Yanzhen Ren. This killing intent is not good. The Westwind Lion King was a little unhappy. After all, he promised to guard Zhanghe City and wanted to make a mess. Why did he seem to have become a thug? Getting on a pirate ship is so annoying. Lan Batian, who was sleeping soundly, was suddenly awakened by the Westwind Lion King. Boy Blue, don't sleep. Lan Batian woke up instantly. After all, he was also a powerhouse in the sea level. Isn't it easy to enter a battle state in an instant? Prepare a larger storage ring. Hide the wind spirit stone and ice spirit stone tomorrow, and other expensive things in your house. Put them away, and the servants will let them all go back. Zifeng Lion King Xiao Xiao with a wave. A gust of wind slapped Lan Batian on the wall. Brother Zifeng, in the middle of the night. Lan Batian was extremely depressed. But the next sentence of the Westwind Lion King made Lan Batian tremble. The Yan family is here, and the Heoyu realm will be a tough battle. Lan Batian was originally shot by the Lion King on the wall, and then fell to the ground for a moment. Assembled. A roar came from Lan Batian's mouth. The entire Lan family woke up instantly. In just 5 minutes, more than 40 people from the Lan family had arrived. Listen to my orders. I'll go to the housekeeper and ask each of them for 100,000 yuan to give everyone a holiday. As for the days, wait for my notice. Lan Batian glanced at everyone and went straight to the topic. In the middle of the night, I can't call a car. The car in the garage. You can drive away first, but remember not to scratch me. Everyone was stunned for a while. In the middle of the night, is the owner of the house going crazy? I saw Lan Batian put his eyes on Lan Lengshan. Give a storage ring to Lan Lengshan. You also go to the school to live for a few days. I have already told old man Zhang that he will arrange a place for you to live. Lan Lengshan took a deep breath, thinking of countless reasons in his mind. Only one reason is most likely, that is the Yan family. A stronger person has come. The person who came was so strong that even Xiaoxi was not sure to deal with it. Chapter 45. The Yan family is on the door. 4. Dad, then you have to pay attention to safety. Lan Leng's eyes were slightly red, and she was not stupid. Of course, he knew that if he stayed in the Lan family, he would definitely bring worries to Lan Batian. It is even possible that, because of his existence, Lan Batian is distracted to protect himself. Lan Batian nodded and hugged Lan Lengshan in his arms. Nothing. Lan Lengxiang said, holding back her tears. Farewell to Lan Lengxiang. Baizhen and Zhang Daosheng also came to Lan's house. In the huge Lan family, there are only 3 people and a strange beast left. The West Wind Lion King looked at Zhang Daosheng and the 3 of them. He seemed to want to say something. He opened his mouth, but didn't say anything. Alas, boy, in order to keep your secret. And Lan Lengxiang also stayed at Ye Chen's place under Zhang Daosheng's arrangement. Lan Lengxiang didn't sleep well all night and got up early. And Li Xiaodi also made breakfast. Lan Lengxiang came to live yesterday and was led by Li Xiaodi. So the breakfast was naturally made for 3 people. It wasn't until Ye Chen went downstairs for breakfast that he discovered the existence of Lan Lengxiang. Huh? Big niece, what are you doing here? Ye Chen yawned and asked. Lan Lengxiang was about to say something, but saw Li Xiaodi beside him. It was silent for a moment. Ye Chen looked a little unnatural. Did something happen, Dad? Sent all the servants of the Lan family away. Lan Leng grabbed her skirt tightly with both hands, and Ye Chen heard a cry. Seeing that the atmosphere was a little subtle, Li Xiaodi directly reached out and took a sandwich and ran towards her room without taking her head back. Seeing Li Xiaodi being so sensible, Ye Chen nodded secretly. Is there someone from the Yan family? Well, Xiaoxi is very nervous. Although he behaved indifferently, he woke up Dad in the middle of the night. When Lan Lengxiang saw that Li Xiaodi was gone, tears flowed out instantly. That means that the enemy, even Xiaoxi, is not sure to deal with it. Ye Chen calmed down and said, Ye Chen, can you save my father? Lan Lengxiang turned around and hugged Ye Chen directly, crying bitterly. Ye Chen stretched out his hand and touched Lan Lengxiang's head. Silly niece, don't worry, pushing Lan Lengxiang away gently. He did not forget to bring a sandwich before leaving. Ye Chen knows that his body strength is not strong, so he can only wait for the secret shot. So after Ye Chen left school, he built a small house with wood style near Lan's house to block the sun. Yamato, I'm familiar with this trick. Really bored. Ye Chen continued to practice. This wave. This wave is called waiting for the rabbit. However, the Lion King of the West Wind had already sensed Ye Chen's arrival. In an instant, he felt a lot more at ease. In his eyes, Ye Chen was much better than Baizhen and the others. Right, give me that bright moon realm, but there are still 2 starry realm. The Lion King of West Wind looked at Baizhen and the others and said. Baizhen smiled slightly when he heard the words. The previous battle with Deng Shizhang has benefited me a lot. Now that I have stepped into the starry realm with half of my foot and dragged a starry realm with dozens of tricks, I still have confidence. Zhang Daosheng and Lan Batian also nodded when they heard the words, but the other party still has a few people in the sea level. The West Wind Lion King said while hitting every 1 point. As soon as these words came out, the whole place fell silent. It seems that the old man is going to explain here today. Zhang Daosheng sighed deeply. The West Wind Lion King asked with a slightly playful look, are you afraid, teacher? Why don't you call Sister King? Baizhen couldn't help saying. It's not that he is afraid of death in vain. As a soldier in Aksha, he has already put his life and death out of the question. But Zhang Daosheng was his own teacher after all, and Baizhen knew that although Zhang Bingking didn't contact the teacher, he cared about the teacher very much. If the teacher dies, can the Yan family withstand the wrath of the Bingsheng? No. Zhang Daosheng shook his head. The West Wind Lion King couldn't understand what the 2 were saying and thought he was planning to call the younger generation to explain the funeral. Then the West Wind Lion King said mysteriously, don't worry, we have helpers today. I just don't know if these helpers can stand it. Help? The 3 of them were overjoyed and said in unison, where, don't worry, when it's time to shoot, he will naturally shoot. The West Wind Lion King said with a smile. Everyone was disgusted for a while. However, the Lion King smirked, imagining that the 3 of them would drop their jaws in shock when they saw Ye Chen's strength. Boom, boom, a violent vibration and explosion sounded. The 3 people, 1 lion in the reception hall, and Ye Chen, who was hiding in the dark, instantly turned to look at the gate of the Lan family manor. What about the Lan family? Where did they die? Didn't you see our 3rd master coming? guard of the Yan family jumped out and shouted point. Although he is only a bodyguard, he has the strength of a sea falling realm point. The people who just walked out of the reception hall saw the door that was burning with raging fire point. A mess. Thinking about it, it should have been a direct fireball that destroyed the entire door. After all, there was a fire saint in the Yan family, and most of the people in the Yan family in the future are the existence of fire attribute talent point. Even if it transforms into beasts and utensils, it will have the fire attribute point. Yan Zhenbei glared at the bodyguard. We should convince people with virtue. What is the etiquette of yelling and shouting? Retire. I saw Yan Zhenbei standing up, looking at Lan Batian and saying, Patriarch Lan, this is already prepared. Yan Zhenbei wanted to laugh as he looked at the 3 and 1 beast point on my side. There are 5 inverted sea realms, 2 starry realms, and 1 bright moon realm point. What's the opponent's Lanoop? 1 bright moon realm, 3 inverted sea realms, 7th. Brother, why are you telling him this? Yan Zhenbei had Yan Zhen's people as his backing, and his tone changed instantly. Point. When they came to Lan's house before, the West Wind Lion King stood in front of them, and they couldn't say a word. Hand over young master Yan Feng. We can consider leaving a whole corpse for you. Yan Zhenbei exuded a terrifying aura. Although we also want to give Yan Feng to you, it's a pity that Yan Feng left the Lan family a few days ago. We really don't know where Yan Feng is. Lan Batian shook his head and denied. It seems to be a toast instead of a penalty drink. Yan Zhen's dark eyes showed murderous intent. Third brother. Kill them. Yan Zhenbei's whole body is not well. The old man. Are you floating? I saw Yan Zhenren stand out silently. His eyes narrowed slightly. 8th. Brother, this is the only time. Don't order me next time. I will die. Yan Zhenren's body was on fire, and black flame spread all over his body. Point. This black flame is the talent of Yan Zhen people. Ye Chen, who was hiding in the dark, looked strange. Is Amaterasu strong? Or is your Heli Yan strong? Chapter 46. A fool. The West Wind Lion King stood up and stopped Lan Batian and the 3 behind him. Your Excellency, can't we just sit down and have a good talk? Yan Zhenren sneered when he heard the words. It's just a beast. Why should you sit down with me? The West Wind Lion King was a little annoyed when he heard this. Young man, don't be ashamed. Yan Zhenren stretched out his right hand, and a mass of flames gathered in his hand. Stop talking nonsense. I want to eat roast lion meat today. After speaking, the flame in Yan Zhenren's hand flew towards the West Wind Lion King. Point. The speed is extremely fast, and the West Wind Lion King is very helpless. No matter how fast the flames were, they were not as fast as themselves, but there were still 3 Lan Batian behind Nahi. Roar. The West Wind Lion King roared angrily. Point. The wind emanating from the mouth collided with the black flames. Instant explosion. After a short fight, the Yan Zhen people almost understood the strength of the West Wind Lion King. Point. Although not as good as myself, it is definitely tricky. Point. The black flame exploded instantly, and the gap between the West Wind Lion King was not right. Point. This flame did not go out, and Ye Chen was also stunned. Wow, this isn't really Amaterasu, is it? Can't blow it, then. He shook his head suddenly. Impossible. If Amaterasu is the case, it will burn with the wind. The West Wind Lion King was stunned. What the hell? Can the wind burn? Who? Yan Zhenren pointed out with a finger, and instantly landed on the wooden house where Ye Chen was staying. Point. Lan Batian was stunned. When did my family have a cabin? Oops, I've been found out. In this way, I can't do it if I want to be caught off guard. Ye Chen sighed helplessly. Point. A crack appeared from the closed wooden house. Ye Chen came out of the crack. Boy, Yi, Chen, Ye Gao, Zhang, Dao Sheng, Bazin and Lan Batian exclaimed. What are you doing here? Nonsense. Zhang Dao Sheng was instantly angry. Point. Bazin also frowned. Chen, get out of here. What are you doing here? Alas, although the 3 people's tones were different, they all cared about Ye Chen. Haha, since you're here, do you still want to leave? Yan Zhenbei sneered. Ye Chen shrugged. Yeah, I'm not going to leave when I come. Old Zhang, Brother Bei, Brother Lan, don't worry, I'm strong. When Yan Zhenren heard Ye Chen's words, he squinted at Ye Chen's state. Awakening. The 7 realms? Strong? Yan Zenren couldn't help laughing when he heard Ye Chen's words. Xiaoxi, I'm holding on to this one who uses black fire. Can you stop the others? Ye Chen waved at the West Wind Lion King. Ye Chen is very confident in his strength now, because the black flame just now is still burning on the wood style he built, and the speed is very slow point. As long as the other party is not like the Lion King, the wind system pays attention to speed, then only attack. What Ye Chen is not afraid of the most is to attack. Zhang Daosheng was dumbfounded. Boy, do you know what you're talking about, Lan? Batian covered his forehead and said to Zhang Daosheng beside him, if we can survive, let's take Ye Chen to see our brains. Bei. Zan's face was pale, and in his opinion, Ye Chen was afraid that he would die here like everyone else. He also has the identity of the military, and the Yan family does not dare to kill, but the others are different. Ye Chen was a little helpless. The Yan family didn't believe in him, and his own side didn't believe in himself either. Seeing Ye Chen's helpless look, the Lion King of the West Wind couldn't help laughing out loud. Okay, I'll leave this guy to you, the others. I'll fix it in minutes. When everyone in the Yan family heard the words, they all laughed out loud. I laughed so hard. This kid and this stupid lion really thought they could stop the third master. Ha 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 ha. No, my stomach hurts, Yan. Zanren laughed instead. Boy, are you serious? I saw Ye Chen turned his head and looked at the surrounding environment. The body squatted down slightly and his face became very serious. Old Zhang, brother Bei, brother Lan, you three step back a little. Zhang Daosheng wanted to say something but was stopped by the West Wind Lion King. I advise you to be obedient and stand back. Ye Chen put his hands together, the face of the fairy appeared, and the familiar eyeshadow appeared again. Ye Chen's breath suddenly skyrocketed. Everyone present was shocked. Ye Chen grinned. Fall back further. Zhang Daosheng couldn't help frowning. This was hundreds of meters away from Ye Chen. Listen to him. The West Wind Lion King said meaningfully. On the Yan family's side, they also began to notice that something was wrong. Elder 7. Do we want to, Yan? Zan's white eyes narrowed slightly and looked at Yan Zenren. Yan Zenren smiled. Although the breath has skyrocketed a lot, it's still an ant. Hearing this sentence, Yan Zenbei breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay, this kid can't do anything. Ye Chen saw Zhang Daosheng and the three of them, and they were nearly 1,000 meters away from him. Attention, sage. Art. True. Several thousand hands. Ye Chen put his hands together. In an instant, the earth trembled instantly. Countless branches emerged from the ground, and countless trees were entwined. A wooden dragon wrapped around wooden golem. The earth still does not stop shaking. The body of wooden golem appeared, sitting cross-legged on the ground. The 100-meter high wooden golem instantly stunned everyone. It's not over yet. Ye Chen growled. A Buddha head emerges from the ground, followed by the Buddha's body. With thousands of arms behind the Buddha, the kilometer-high Buddha opened his eyes and looked directly at the three Yan Zenren flying in the air. As for the others, direct life and death unknown. Who made them too close. Being directly involved in the Great Buddha, I'm afraid that he has already been crushed to death by the Great Buddha. The kilometer-high giant Buddha instantly destroyed the entire Lion family manor, and even the guard dog's den disappeared. A big Buddha was erected in Zhanghai City. Everyone, look, what is that? Buddha, why is it so big? Oh my god, is this a kilometer high? There are even sharp-eyed people who find that on the head of the Buddha, the crown of the Buddha is actually a giant sitting on it. And it seems there is actually a figure on the top of the head. It's just too far away to see clearly. Yan Zenren, are you qualified to fight with you now? Ye Chen glared at Yan Zenren. His roar resounded through the sky. Yan Zenren's face turned pale. He swallowed and pretended to be calm. You think you're big? Can you fight? To be honest, it's really those alien beasts of the scorching sun mirror. Isn't that real body a few hundred meters away? But the big Buddha in front of him is 1,000 meters tall, and the arm behind him is twice as tall as the big Buddha. Try it. A cold shout sounded, and through several thousand hands moved. An arm shot from the right side suddenly, like a missile. It killed the Yansan people. The West Wind Lion King on the side was stunned. I'll be good. Dong Shizhang was very lucky I didn't get chased by this thing. Dong Shizhang climbed out of hell with a smile and said, "Thank you." Chapter 47. On that day, the wind was light and the clouds were calm, and Zhanghai City was like set. Yanzhen's face changed greatly. The speed of that arm is as fast as lightning, and the huge arm can still have such a fast speed. Yanzhen didn't know how to attack at all, so he had to control the flight to try to avoid the attack. Big brother, don't dodge, it's boring. Just hit the front. Ye Chen laughed when he saw that the other party was planning to dodge his attack point, that Yanzhen kept his mouth shut, and it was easy to dodge this blow point. But the next second, a loud noise came from behind Yanzhen. It turned out that the arm was slapped on the ground, the whole arm sank directly into the ground, and even the ground was smashed out of a semicircular arc. Yanzhen was completely frightened and looked up at the thousands of hands behind the Buddha that Ye Chen was standing on, trembling all over. Yanzhen Bei and Yanzhen also trembled in doubt about life. This Zhanghai City is hell. What are you doing to kill yourself and come to this place to ask for trouble? Zhang Daosheng, Beizhen and Lan Batian were standing there at the moment, looking at the 2,000-meter tall giant Buddha in front of them. The neck is a little sore. Old man Zhang, give me a slap. I seem to be dreaming. Lan Batian said, dumbfounded. Zhang Daosheng's mind went blank for a while. Are you sure it's your dream? If it's your dream, why am I here? Don't say it. I have lived in vain for the past 30 years. Beizhen pinched his arm silently and then shed tears of humiliation. When the Lion King of the West Wind saw the situation, he immediately transformed into a half-orc, not knowing where to bring a chair. Start watching the play. Little Leaf, kill him. Ye Chen glanced at the West Wind Lion King. His face was speechless. You are being lazy, but I didn't say anything. If I could solve all the opponents by myself, then the Lion King really didn't need to do it. One of the arms of True several thousand hands shook again. Ye Chen, I think we can sit down and have a good talk. Yanzhen hurriedly roared when Ye Chen was about to strike again. I remembered that Lao Zhang asked you to have a good talk before, but you didn't agree. Ye Chen shouted at the other party. What? Now you know you're afraid, Yan. Zhenren said with a gloomy face. I know that you must have paid a lot for using this level of secret art. As long as you stop now. Ye Chen laughed loudly, knowing that I paid the price. Do you think I will let you go, Yan? Zhenren is in a very depressed mood now. He has never said so much in his life. Even Yan Zhenchen, his own elder brother, ordered himself. He just hummed. When Yanzhen heard Ye Chen's words, he gritted his teeth and took a storage ring from his hand. Here are the resources I have accumulated over the years to exchange my life. I think it should be enough. Ye Chen was stunned and turned to look at the West Wind Lion King. The West Wind Lion King understood in seconds and grinned. The next second, the West Wind Lion King appeared in front of Yanzhen. Yanzhen handed the ring to the West Wind Lion King and looked in Ye Chen's direction. It's alright now. The West Wind Lion King happily returned to the chair and sat. That's it. Ye Chen shouted. Yanzhen was overjoyed. Then can I go now? Ye Chen's eyes narrowed suddenly. Do you think you discovered my secret? Can you leave alive, Yan? Zhenren's face changed greatly. What do you mean, do? You think I'd be stupid enough to ask you to go back to Yan's house and bring 2 more bright moon realms? Ye Chen's mocking voice entered the ears of Yanzhen. The Yansan people understood that they would be planted here today. Ye Chen's words also spoke to him. If he leaves today, he will come to Zhanghai City next time. I can guarantee that when I return to the Yan family, I will not mention this, and I will tell the above that Yan Feng has never been to Zhanghai City. Yanzhen adjusted his mentality and said very seriously, you keep it and tell the King of Hell. Ye Chen wrote lightly. Yanzhen was furious. Ye Chen, don't deceive people too much. Seriously, can't I escape your fist? Oh. Can you dodge thousands of fists then? Ye Chen's voice made Yanzhen feel bad. What he meant was, can he control thousands of hands to attack him at the same time? Impossible. Ye Chen straightened his waist, and the veins on his forehead burst out. True. Several thousand hands. Become a Buddha on the top, Yan. Zhenren's eyes are straight. Yanzhen Bei and Yanzhen have long since lost any sense of existence, and the breath of despair permeates the entire Lan family manor. The big Buddha at Ye Chen's feet moved quickly towards Yan Zinren, and the arm behind him suddenly rose into the sky. Thousands of arms were lifted into the air at the same time, smashing towards the three of Yan Zinren. Ye Chen, you will die. The Yan family won't let you go. Yan Zinren looked at the fist that filled the sky, who was as strong as a bright moon, and his eyes were full of despair. Aren't you going to resist anymore, big brother? Ye Chen roared at Yan Zinren with a burst of energy. Yan Zin's popularity is about to explode. I rebel against your uncle. Countless arms fell from the sky. Strike from top to bottom. There is no way to avoid it. Boom. X999. It sounded like a firecracker. The West Wind Lion King swallowed his saliva. Fortunately, I didn't shoot this kid. The 3 Zhang Dao Sheng also swallowed. Teacher, how about Ye Chen borrowing my army for 3 years? Just 3 years. I promise that at least half of the frontline monsters will die. Old man Zhang, why do you want to rest your mind? You are looking for a god. Lan Batian's legs softened, and he sat directly on the ground. Fortunately, Zhanghe City is located in a coastal city. During the reconstruction, I was afraid of crustal changes, so the shock absorption was strengthened. Bazin looked at the waterless lake with a depth of tens of meters, and said with a dull eye, after dozens of breaths, the scene was a mess. The green grass in the original Langia manor was extremely soft. Can't see a good place right now. Every punch is a huge pit. These thousands of punches directly helped the Lan family to smash a natural lake in the front yard. After doing all this, Ye Chen was also exhausted. But this time it was really overdrawn. Yan Zinren and the others didn't even have time to scream, and they shattered their bodies with one punch. Not to mention thousands of punches. I'm afraid that there is not even the dregs left now. In Zhanghe City, countless people looked in the direction of the Lan family manor, including the group of servants who were temporarily on vacation. They all watched worriedly. However, only Lan Lengshan recognized the big Buddha, existing like a goddess. That day, the weather is fine and the temperature is slightly cooler. The morning sun is exceptionally bright. But there is a big Buddha overlooking Zhanghe City, blocking the rising sun. That day, the earthquake in Zhanghe City was a bit sudden, and it shook several times. Only know that the number of times is definitely more than most people. It comes faster, and it lasts for a long time. Chapter 48. Ye Chen Brand Artificial Lake. Ye Chen lifted true several thousand hands, as if it did not appear. The entire Buddha was returned to the ground. TSK, Xiaoxi, in my opinion, your bright moon realm is nothing special. At the same time as he finished speaking, the immortal face pattern on his face faded, and he rolled his eyes, and fell asleep on the ground. Zhang Dao Sheng and the 3 saw Ye Chen fell to the ground, so they hurriedly stepped forward to check. On the contrary, the West Wind Lion King glanced at Ye Chen indifferently. It was just too much consumption. Then I came to the big pit made by the big guy, and looked at it. TSK. I have to say, Ye Chen is a good craftsman. He even has stairs to go down. The Lion King of the West Wind nodded and praised. If Ye Chen listened to it, I'm afraid I would like to thank your whole family for their praise. After everyone calmed down, things came to an end. Damn, I thought that Yuzaozi would help me kill these 2-star elms at most, but I didn't expect him to let me do nothing. Each of Ye Chen's attacks is similar to his own ultimate move. Although he is in the Bright Moon realm, the attack of the Bright Moon realm is not comparable to the huge pothole in front of him, who can play such a lake casually in the Heoyu realm. I was talking about the Bright Moon realm, not the Awakening realm, big brother Zifeng. So you said the reinforcement was Ye Chen? Lan Batian still didn't react. The West Wind Lion King smiled and nodded, and glanced at Ye Chen. Lan Batian stood at the gate of the manor that had been blown up. Cowardly, he took out a pack of cigarettes from Kabuto, and slowly lit it for himself. Zhang Dao Sheng stood beside him, and stretched out his hand to ask for one. Bazan, who came forward, was silent, and Lan Batian also gave it consciously. The 3 took a deep breath of cigarettes. Zan was the first to speak. I still think I'm dreaming. Do you think anyone can achieve this level of awakening? Zhang Dao Sheng looked dazed. I just want to know now whether Brother Yi is here to fight or to demolish the house. The difference between Lan Batian and Zhang Daosheng's trance is that in his eyes, there is confusion, dozens of meters high villas, and the palace of the West Wind Lion King. With Ye Chen's efforts, it turned into a pile of ruins. Zhang Daosheng looked at Lan Batian with pity, not knowing how to comfort him. Don't be dissatisfied. Ye Chen also helped you build a nice artificial lake, and then raise some fish. Bay. Zan said playfully. Lan Batian's head was covered with black lines. God's goddamn artificial lake. Give me back my 1,000 square villa. I think you think too much. Ye Ziozi won't admit that he did it himself. Zhang Daosheng said faintly. Why don't you admit it? In front of everyone's eyes. Lan Batian angrily reprimanded, suddenly reacting. Damn, if I say that an awakening realm destroys this place like this, the 3 saints of the human race will slap me when they see it. Bay. Zan looked at Lan Batian with some pity. Yes, the West Wind Lion King looked around in the pit and found a finger. Well, look at this aura. It's good from the bright moon realm. The Lion King nodded solemnly. It seems that this land should have good nutrients in the future. After all, 2 starry realms and 1 bright moon realm serve as nourishment. This kid is too. No matter how serious or serious, the corpse is destroyed. Knowing that I have such a powerful strength, do I still need to worry so much? Really? Ye Chen's overdraft this time was not like before. He just fainted. This time, the energy of immortality is almost completely empty. After all, true several thousand hands and the Buddha on the top are actually 2 ninjutsu. One is to summon the Buddha, and the other is to manipulate the Buddha. Summoning the great Buddha took only 1/3 of the cost, but the trick of turning into a Buddha on the top, in an instant, Ye Chen's whole body was almost sucked. But this can't blame Ye Chen. To be honest, Ye Chen was mentally prepared when he used the top Buddha. After all, I was so tired with one arm before this time, but it's actually okay. After all, the opponent is not as good as Madara in the original book. Ye Chen just smashed it hard and it's done. Okay, it turned out that Ye Chen was right, and it was not the same as what Senju Hashirama controlled. Ye Chen first let thousands of arms fly towards the sky, and then the swamp came down. Like rain, there was no way to avoid it. Lan Batian is dealing with the reconstruction of the manor, but he is not bad. Although the Lan family is not big, it can be regarded as a prominent person in Zhanghe City. Find a 5-star hotel and just stay there. But the question is, what about the West Wind Lion King? He can't go to the hotel with him, can he? So, Lan Lengxiang and Zifeng Lion King followed Ye Chen to live in the school, and Lan Batian lived in the hotel. So it was a happy decision. Until Ye Chen woke up, it was already the next evening. Yo. My weak host. Yesterday's and today's rewards were Temeri's silk scarf and Ino's wildflowers. Do you need me to bring them out for you? The gentle voice of the system sounded instantly. Ye Chen just opened his eyes, and his eyes suddenly went black. Isn't it too unconscionable? As soon as I woke up, you humiliated me with this rubbish. Then I'll give you Hinata socks next time. Ye Chen was silent. It's not impossible. I want a pair, but one is not enough. System. Are you pervert? Lan Lengxiang also learned about Ye Chen's record that day from Lan Batian's mouth, although he was a little surprised. But after all, she was also someone who had seen the scene, so naturally she calmed down quickly. Speaking of the system, why does this battle make me feel that Haoai Jing is weak? The system crashed instantly. It wasn't that Haoai who was weak, it was Wood's style that was strong. Right. Can't say anything. Low emotional intelligence. If you change to someone with high emotional intelligence, you will definitely say, wow, the Wood style you gave to the system is so strong. Bad review. Ye Chen saw that the system didn't speak and didn't say any more. His stomach was rumbling, and he got up from hunger in the evening. There was no one in the whole villa. Sister Xiaodi, where is the person? Ye Chen called softly, but got no response. It's strange, isn't it usually dinner time? Ye Chen helplessly took out a can of milk from the refrigerator and poured it into his stomach. By the way, is it really good for you to drink ice milk on an empty stomach? Aren't you afraid of going 1,000 miles away after drinking the milk? Ye Chen opened the door of the villa and was stunned. Then Ye Chen couldn't help but nag. Damn. Is this villa too soundproof? Or am I fucking deaf? Seeing Ye Chen standing at the gate of the villa. Lan Lengshan waved quickly. Ye Chen, are you awake? Come and have a barbecue. Ye Chen's head is full of black lines. I saw the Lion King of the West Wind who had transformed into a human body hooked on Basin's shoulders. You don't know, Ye Chen, that boy is chasing that dung shiz hang for hundreds of kilometers in wooden golem. Lan Batian took mutton kebabs one at a time and said in his mouth, my precious daughter's grilled meat is delicious. Zhang Daosheng followed Basin and listened to the story of the Lion King. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Semi-Holy Level Beast. Ye Chen was stunned point looking at the scene in front of you. Li Xiaodi and Lan Lengshan were busy barbecuing point. Zhang Daosheng, Basin, and the West Wind Lion King were drinking and eating meat. Bragging point. Lan Batian is still following behind his daughter. It's a very simple scene. It seems a little warm. Exclamation mark. Ye Chen shook his head violently, only to see Lan Leng holding several mutton skewers in front of Ye Chen. Ah, you hungry? I specially reserved it for you. If you still want to eat, I'll bake it for you. Lan Lengshan's small eyes were almost narrowed with a smile. Hey, baby, where's mine? Lan Batian whispered behind Lan Lengshan. Ye Chen glanced at Lan Batian and took the mutton skewer with a smile. I think I can eat a sheep now. Okay, then I'll grill it for you. Lan Lengshan jumped to the stove and continued to grill the mutton kebabs. Brother, Yi, how about giving me half? Just half. Lan Batian drooled at the string in Ye Chen's hand. His eyes blurred. Ye Chen smirked immediately, picked up a bunch of skewers, and took a bite out of them all. Oh, you didn't say it earlier. I've eaten it. Lan Weather patted his chest. Ye Chen smiled heartlessly point. After a few rounds of drinking, the West Wind Lion King, Basin and Zhang Daosheng had already fallen asleep on the ground point. After Lan Batian didn't eat mutton skewers, he also joined the army of drinking point. After a while, there was one more person lying on the ground point. Li Xiaodi silently took out a few blankets from the villa, covered them with a few drunk men, and went back to the room to sleep alone. Ye Chen took a bottle of wine and sat on a small hill looking at the sky. The night sky is rare, Ye Chen said with emotion. Lan Lengshan suddenly appeared and hugged Ye Chen's arm. How about looking at the stars? Yes, Ye Chen, do you know, my mother used to tell me that when people die, they will become stars, watching you in the sky. Ye Chen smiled and listened carefully to what Lan Lengshan said about the past point until Lan Lengshan also fell asleep. The West Wind Lion King suddenly opened his eyes and whispered, little leaf, come here, I have something to tell you. Ye Chen was stunned on the spot. The West Wind Lion King wanted to tell him something, but he had to wait until everyone fell asleep. What's the matter? Ye Chen blurted out. The West Wind Lion King looked at the three people lying beside him, then looked at Lan Lengshan who was sleeping beside Ye Chen, and shook his head helplessly. Take the girl back to the room. Let's find a quiet place and talk. Ye Chen nodded slightly. When he wanted to come, Xiaoxi was so serious to talk to himself. I was afraid it would be a very difficult thing. After sending Lan Lengshan back to the room, Ye Chen walked out of the door. The West Wind Lion King grabbed Ye Chen's collar and instantly appeared on the roof of the villa. Zhao Z, aren't you from the wind element? Are you from the space element? Ye Chen said enviously. After all, this is too fast. Space is a fart. That's beating. I'm just fast. Ye Chen waved his hand. Okay, what's the matter? Let's talk. When the Lion King of the West Wind heard Ye Chen's words, the whole land became serious. In the early days of Zhanghe City, there was a saint in the human race who killed a semi-holy beast with one blow, but this semi-holy beast needed to be destroyed with flames, otherwise, he will continue to be resurrected. So the original saint sealed this semi-holy level alien beast in the waters near Zhanghe City. The more Zifeng Lion King said, the more ugly his face became. It was also because of the saint at the beginning that the Lion King of the West Wind would not be so afraid of the human race. The Saint made an oath at the place where the alien beast was sealed it for 100 years, and returned to kill this half-holy alien beast after 100 years. When Ye Chen heard this, he was instantly shocked. I just woke up. Are you telling me that there is a semi-sanctuary near Zhanghe City? This, how to play with you, seeing that the 100-year deadline is approaching, the famous saint does not know where to go. After all, you also know that I'm not a human, and you cannot know about your human. Ye Chen was numb. Brother, you told me about this. Do you think I can beat the semi-holy realm, at least more reliable than Zhang Daosheng's group? The West Wind Lion King scratched his head and said without thinking. Ye Chen immediately said narcissistically, if you want to say that, it's also, then, what should we do? You ask me. Who am I to ask? I just wanted to hear your thoughts, so I told you. Zifeng Lion King Lion went crazy. Ye Chen was speechless. What should I do? Should I go into the water to kill that alien beast? Ye Chen's mouth twitched slightly, thinking of that picture apostrophe. Come on, alien beast brother, open your mouth. I'll go in by myself. Are you crazy? If I haven't promised to defend Zhanghe City, I can just leave, but now I promise. The West Wind Lion King said helplessly. Then, why did you agree at that time? Ye Chen was puzzled. The West Wind Lion King was stunned. Yes, why did I agree in the first place? Ye Chen and the West Wind Lion King are blowing cold wind on the roof of the villa, doubting life. Since my awakening, there has been nothing good. Ye Chen sighed deeply. Perhaps this world gave you the training. The Lion King took out 2 bottles of beer from the ring and gave one to Ye Chen. Then he threw the ring to Ye Chen. This is the storage ring of the Great Flame Seer. Ye Chen smiled, took the ring, and continued. I think I have to tell Lao Zhang and the others about this matter. Although I'm powerful now, I have no real power after all. Ye Chen opened a can of beer and took a gulp. I still think beer is not good. Can I replace it with Coke? The Lion King of the West Wind glanced at Ye Chen. Coke can't solve Cayenne Shao, but still took out a can from the ring. Ye Chen was shocked. Other people's rings are used to hold good things, but all yours are for drinking. Although he can't solve Cayenne Shao, he can make me happy. Ye Chen opened a cola and took a sip. It's cool. The next day, after everyone woke up at the suggestion of Ye Chen, the West Wind Lion King still confessed this matter to everyone. Under the popular science of Beizan, everyone knew that the saint who made good use of seals, his name is Ji Qian Meng, a saint of the space department. One-handed space cutting and space sealing are superb, but they died in the hands of a demigod. Lan Batian's whole person is in a bad mood. It's okay to stay here in Zhanghe City. In just half a month. Oh, don't wait. That's easy. If you can move the entire Zhanghe City, then everything will be fine. Zifeng Lion King rolled his eyes at Lan Batian. What you said is simple. Lan Batian said weakly. Zhanghe City has been established for so long, and people have become accustomed to everything about Zhanghe City. Everyone turned their attention to Beizan. Why are you looking at me? I have reported it to the top. How to solve it is the matter above. It's useless to look at me. Chapter 50 Ice Phoenix Zhang Binking, breaking the mountain in 10 days. Beizan is very innocent in this kind of thing. His rear admiral army has nothing to do with it. Which rank on the front is not a general. To put it nicely, it means sitting in Zhanghe City, and to put it nicely, it means staying away from the battlefield. And the human race is in danger on the front line at this moment. I'm afraid that there is no time to send a half-sage back to Zhanghe City for resources. Beizan's words made everyone silent. Yes, how can a city compare with the entire clan? If there is one less saint on the front line, then the battle situation will also be affected. It's okay, we have little leaves. The West Wind Lion King said suddenly. Everyone was silent. Zhang Daosheng couldn't help but replied, do you want Yu Zhaozi to feed that alien beast? Hearing this, Lan Batian touched his chin, the size of his big Buddha. It's not impossible to feed the other party. Zan covered his face and couldn't bear to look directly. Zhang Daosheng slapped Lan Batian suddenly. What are you thinking about every day? After Realizing it, everyone seems to be familiar with what happened these days, especially the Lan family. Although they have always been the big family in Zhanghai City, they have never had any interaction with the military point, and these all have one thing in common. That is Ye Chen. The appearance of Ye Chen made everyone have a small bond, which was slowly growing. Ye Chen, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly said, "One big Buddha can't hold him to death. What about another one, Zhang?" Dao Sheng was stunned for a moment. I think what Ye Chen said makes sense. Can you not be so obvious about your double standard? Lan Batian stood up and roared. It's there? Zhang Dao Sheng touched his beard subconsciously and said indifferently, "You guys are really in a good mood." The West Wind Lion King was speechless. What's the fear of death? You can keep the peace of this human race, Bazin said suddenly and solemnly. Lan Batian glared at him. Then you go. You can fight this half-sage. It's easy for me to defeat him. The problem is that I can't defeat him. Bazin shrugged. So it's rotten? Ye Chen suddenly said such a sentence inexplicably. The West Wind Lion King was full of black lines. I feel so sorry when I think that I will die with you soon after I joined Zhanghai City. Ye Chen said subconsciously. Actually, I might have the ability to kill that half-sage. Everyone was shocked. Ye Chen, do you know what you're talking about? Bazin's eyes were about to pop out. Since he met Ye Chen, his three views have been refreshed. It's like someone patted your head and said, "Dude, are you dumbfounded? This is the real world." Ye Chen touched the long knife at his waist. Didn't I say before that the alien beast must have fire attribute or something to kill it? This knife of mine is fire attribute. Raijin Jaka? Zhang Dao Sheng's eyes narrowed slightly. Even if Raijin Jaka is strong, you can't use it, right? When Zhang Dao Sheng finished saying this, he realized that the West Wind Lion King, Lan Batian and Bazin were all looking at him with strange eyes. Old man Zhang, are you confused? When you are the principal, can Ye Zhaozi still be defined as an ordinary person? Have you ever seen the wood element awakening realm beat Aoihu realm? Zhang Dao Sheng was dumbfounded in an instant. You're right when you say that. Not to mention the awakening realm hitting the bright moon realm. It's the first time I've seen the wood system used like this. Indeed. Could this be the real way to use the wood element? Bazin couldn't help but spit out. Ye Chen thought about it for a while. Isn't there a wood type SSS talent before? Everyone was stunned. Only the West Wind Lion King was puzzled. Ye Chen said that it's true. There has never been an SSS level in the wood class until now. Bazin frowned, and in fact, the two kinds of flame SSS level talents will also appear similar to Yanzhenren. Alienation talents like black flame or white flame. Lan Batian was stunned for a moment, but doesn't the alienation of talent only appear when it reaches the realm of moving mountains? No, it doesn't have to be moving mountains. Zhang Dao Sheng gave everyone a deep look. If the talent is strong enough, the awakening realm will begin to alienate the talent. Zhang Dao Sheng said a theory that no one had heard of, but Bazin disagreed because the person Zhang Dao Sheng said was his daughter. What? The teacher said, King Mei. Bazin's eyes were full of yearning, which was a yearning for strength. After all, Zhang Bingking stepped into the starry realm at the age of 12. Zhang Dao Sheng nodded and said nothing. But the West Wind Lion King and Lan Batian became curious. Of course, Ye Chen was no exception. Tell us, who is Sister King? Ye Chen said with a smirk. Bazin glanced at Zhang Dao Sheng, and when he saw that his teacher had no objection, he took a breath and started talking. King Mei is the daughter of the teacher. At the age of 6, I woke up on my own, and my talent showed for the first time. She is a bird with no attributes. Everyone was surprised at the time. Why would a 6-year-old child wake up on his own? Normally, this happens only to people with particularly strong talents. It wasn't until the next day that her talent changed a little bit, and that bird actually grew a whole circle. Everyone observed her strength and found out that she was already at the second level of awakening, and she didn't even know how to breathe. On the third day, the bird actually appeared with colorful Madara feathers. The realm broke through another level, and on the fourth day, a pattern similar to the word D appeared on the bird's head. Everyone was stunned and thought of something. A legendary creature, the Phoenix Bay. Zhen even swallowed when he said this. Phoenix? The West Wind Lion King was shocked. As an alien beast point, he is very clear about the suppression of the alien beasts by the blood of the divine beasts. It is precisely because Zhang Bingqing's Ice Phoenix talent is too powerful that with her on the front line, he can persist without losing. Ye Chen's eyes also became solemn. No matter what, the appearance of the phoenix means that the world is not just alien beasts. I'm afraid there will be vicious beasts and even other divine beasts, real dragons and the like. Bazin glanced at everyone. Awakening the 9 realms, Sister King only took 9 days, and just 9 days later will be her 7th birthday. Everyone thought that the Ice Phoenix Saint Zhang Bingqing moved into the mountain every year, but in fact, it only took 10 days. That Ice Phoenix has the word Z on its wings, the word for Li on the back, the word for kindness on the chest, and the word for trust on the abdomen. This also confirms the description of the phoenix in the ancient history of Daksha. But when I stepped into the mountain moving realm, the real alienation appeared. This phoenix is not of the fire element. It is the rarer ice element. You must know that the phoenix belongs to fire, and the ice element is almost rare. Preliminary judgment, because the teacher's own talent is the ice element. So, when Bazin said this, he didn't speak again, but everyone understood. Human talent. It's really scary. According to this genetic theory, Zhang Liaotao's wife should be a bird's talent, Zifeng Lion King said with emotion, but he immediately reacted. Hearing this sentence, Zhang Daosheng's face suddenly changed dramatically, and he didn't say a word. The author says, "I'm really sorry for making you wait so long. I was really tired yesterday, otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to delay the new book for so long. As soon as it got results, in the evening, I will post 2 more chapters, and then continue to post 3 chapters. At 12 o'clock in the evening. As for why there are only 3 chapters, because I promised the old readers, the old books will continue to be updated. Thank you all for wasting 10 seconds in reading my nonsense. Love you yo. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.